Welcome everybody to our review of Draw Steel. Um, so we've been playing this on off sessions when not everyone was able for Dungeon Worlds 2, and our lovely fifth member of the group, Travis, is not with us today, but he, I believe, will be joining us online through watching the live stream. Um, and most of our sessions of Draw Steel were played without him, so we figured when we would review it the next time that he was unavailable.
Yeah.
So, Draw Steel is. How long have we played it? I think we played 5 sessions of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 5 or 6, I think.
6. Jordan,
You
you and
asked-
I have played it a little bit longer. We had some
Mhm.
private games with just you and I and our other group. I had some other private games of my own as a player as a PC, a 2-shot before I ever ran it as well. So I think we have enough experience to review it. Surely, we've done more than
I was
read the
going to
book.
answer with what the game says. The game does answer the
It
question,
does.
"What is this game?" It's really short. This is a game about fighting monsters.
Okay,
Yeah.
there we go.
That
Okay,
was
thanks for
that was
watching,
a
everybody.
sentence. Yeah, that's
Good
what the
night.
game describes as. What is it? It's a game about fighting monsters. And then there's a bunch more words after that. That really
That's
just
an
say what it's
interesting
not.
way to put it,
Um,
because of the term monsters. When
Yeah, but it also specifically says it's not about delving into dungeons like anyone like a Dungeons and Dragons style game. It's specifically not a dungeon crawler. It's specifically not survival horror. Um, what else does it say? It's not. It's not a wilderness exploration hex crawl. It's not about surviving, getting lost, navigating. So I guess not. Yeah, no exploring, no surviving. Um,
we
I
have
find it
briefly bounced against
absolutely-
half of those in our experience with the game.
yeah,
I
that's
find
what
it
it's not.
absolutely fascinating that it said it is about fighting monsters. And yet, when we started with the Delian Tomb adventure, which is sort of the introduction. The first thing that it has us run up against is goblins. And the book is very explicit that these goblins are sentient, they are just a different species. They are not like it tells us that we're fighting monsters, but in our introductory adventure, the generalized these should be monster races
There were people.
were people, and they were put forward as no, these are people. And then the next things we were fighting were bandits. Like there were very few monsters that we actually ended up fighting that were as monsters. That's
We fought like
fascinating.
2.
Yeah, this is a game about
Yeah,
fighting
big bug.
monsters,
We fought the big bug.
and
Yeah.
the other
Exactly,
part of
that's
it
it.
is that like intelligent monsters that are people, fighting people is often tactically very interesting because they can do tactics back to you, unlike most monsters.
Even the second sentence that clarifies, not to say I'm like,
Mhm.
so just say I'm not nitpicking, doesn't even say monstrous enemies. It clarifies monstrous enemies is the
Yeah.
clarification, which doesn't really change
Because
our
you're
points
fighting
here.
them, they must be monsters, obviously.
Clearly,
Yeah, I mean, it does also say and villains.
Where
Draw Steel is definitely a game about creating amazing stories in which the heroes fight
oh,
monsters and
that's
villains.
that's much farther down.
Oh, is it
Yeah,
much
who
farther
reads
down?
past the first sentence?
The sentence two is larger than life, extraordinary heroes plunging into battle against terrifying, monstrous enemies.
That's fair.
After sentence one, it's a game about fighting monsters.
Yep. So, let's dive into what is the fighting. This is a game about fighting monsters, like it said, and this is a game that is all about fighting, but also has a lot of rules that aren't about fighting relative to other role-playing games.
Yeah. Shocking number of non-fighting rules in this book.
Yes. So, as mentioned, we use the Delian Tomb adventure. It is the official unofficial adventure. It is the starting adventure. It has you start with fewer than your normal abilities. I'm assuming it's built from the ground up to you've never played Draw Steel before. Here's a sheet, jump into it. But also the game is complex enough that it literally doesn't give you all of your starting abilities at the start, all of your level 1 abilities. It divvies them out over time. And even doing that, it's still a lot on your first session.
I mean, I feel like that's the first place we should talk about it.
complexity?
That was the first. No, just that concept.
Ah, the actual experience of what it was like to have a character sheet that expanded over time but still be a lot.
Yeah, as like a tutorial mode on the game.
Mhm.
And I think it's pretty poignant to talk about that in the context of the rest of the game, that while, like a video game, this had a tutorial where you slowly unlocked your character sheet as you learned all the bits. The rest of the game continues that theming forward. There is plenty of little bits and pieces and fiddly extra rules that we talked about that are video game peripheral style mechanics. And I think this is a good example of like the first introduction of that, and then the book's clearly setting, or the game designers clearly setting a tone by doing that. It is very well carried forward throughout the rest of the game. It is heavily influenced by action RPGs, like video games.
Yeah, taking the
Yeah.
strengths of of aspects of their design.
Yeah.
Not like 4th edition D&D has sometimes been like video game like has sometimes been used by an insult in some places about 4th edition D&D. I don't think we mean it in that way about
No,
Draw
I
Steel
don't.
at
I'm just
all.
saying that like you can definitely see the inspirational material.
Yeah.
One of the things that the slow unveiling of the character sheet showed it was again what this game was about, because it immediately gave you your combat stuff, expanded on the combat stuff, gave you a little bit more complexity on this combat stuff, and the very last thing that it unlocked was non-combat.
Yeah.
So for me, that told me right away from the get-go, okay, this game is about combat, because it took 4 different fights before I saw anything that wasn't combat related on that sheet.
Yep. You definitely hit the nail on the head there. It's you if you're making a character at level 1 and like you know the game enough that you start with your full abilities, you start with some non-combat stuff. But in this adventure, this tutorial adventure, you don't get any of that until 1 to like 2 to 3
Until
sessions
you
in.
do some murder.
Until you like defeat dozens of people.
Yeah.
It's once you get out of the Dark Souls-esque like jail and you get past the
Yeah.
jailer, that's when you get all the rest of your stuff.
Yeah, you get out of
Like,
the horrible
everything
Dark Souls
non-combat
dungeon
is after that.
tutorial. And
Yeah.
then after you get out of there, the game also very much changes post-tutorial. Hugely changes. You kind of go into, again, I'm going to use a video game like metaphor here. You kind of go into a Bethesda open world. Like,
Which quest do you want to pick up and add to your quest log?
yeah, here's 6. If I'm following the rules as written, here's 6 at once.
Yeah, another settlement needs you aid.
Yeah.
Have a Blake Fallout.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, you fight your way out of Goblin Caves,
Yeah, you
and
take a
then
nap.
you take a nap, you wake up in the real world, and oh no, now you gotta go into town and pick up quests. It was very much like you busted your way out of the Dark Souls dungeon at the start of the game.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
or
you got a
Oblivion.
bunch of stuff
Oblivion's
to
even
do.
better.
Yeah, you
Ooh,
got
yeah.
regular person stuff to do. You gotta go investigate a meat thief.
Yeah.
Like,
Someone's been stealing
One of the
flour
quests
from the
was a meat
granary.
thief. Yeah, someone was stealing jerky from the smokehouse. Who could it be?
Yeah.
Like, a meat thief.
Yeah.
And I think
the sheriff is too busy.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, the sheriff's
So,
a lazy pile of
the
nothing.
book never explains why the sheriff can't help you. I was struggling to be like, okay, why can't the sheriff help you? And so my answer that I came up with was
just make it the mayor.
just
Let's make it the
they
mayor.
had
a
art
little
for
old
her.
school.
They had her like this grizzled martial, like scarred warrior.
The mayor.
Old lady who knits. It is like, I'm the head of the town council. We need help with giant bugs and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
of course you do,
You
little
have
old
literally
lady.
no fighters in town, but no, there is this fighter.
Yeah, except for you, grizzled warrior lady.
Yeah, I think that would be fair. They just don't have any. Yeah. Either way, yeah. 2 of our sessions was in the dungeon, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Yes, because I
and
think we
then
ended one session like right before the final fight.
yeah, then you finished final fight, went back, and then like 3 of our sessions was outside of it. Yeah, oh. Okay, do you want to talk about the world before we dive into the combat rules and things like that?
You know anything about the world?
I don't know anything about the world.
The only
I
thing that I
played
can think
way
of about the
more.
world is that we were forced to be heroes. And I don't say that in a bad way. This game
Like
didn't
that.
feel like it was about roleplay, so they said, congratulations, you are heroes. You do not accept money for your deeds. You go around helping people. That is what you do. So
Yeah,
because it was combat, it kind of set the bounds of this is what you're role playing. Please don't push our boundaries. Very
Yeah, they
It
they
did.
specifically set up like a group of adventurers who take money that are like shitty people,
Yeah.
and you're supposed to be the good guys who do it out of the goodness of your
Yes,
heart.
it's
Yeah.
and
the
free
ex-
bacon from
That's
it's the
true.
exact opposite of the Shadowrun intro, which says you're a scum of the earth criminal who doesn't
Yeah.
have a government ID and you do crime for a living. This does the exact opposite.
Yeah.
You are the hero of the realm and you're gonna like it.
And I think
Yeah.
that's honestly probably better in
I love it.
in
It's
some
so good.
D&D
It
stuff.
sets the tone.
Yeah, in some D&D stuff, it's like you can be anyone, and then the GM has to like wrangle everyone into the same motivations and reasons to go on the adventure.
Like,
This is just like,
lich
no,
aspect
you are
kobold
this-
and a goddess of light. Why are they hanging out?
yeah. Here they're
Yeah,
like,
I
no,
mean-
you're the type of person who would go on this adventure. Make a character like that. Here's the yellow tape. Do not cross it.
I feel like
great.
the
It's so
Bethesda
good.
video game is like such a good analogy. This is like, do you want to play a role playing game that is like Skyrim, but you're not the main character, but you kind of are? Play this game.
Yeah, your party, you depending on
You're
how
the
things
party.
go.
Your party's the main character.
Yeah. The world. So I didn't read everything about the world, but I read a fair bit of it. Stuff came up while I was running it, and especially because I was like, in my own private game as a player character, I literally mixed up 2 of the races, 2 of the ancestries, because they have multiple iconic art for classes. There's the one on the cover, which is the rogue is this like tall bat-eared elf person. And then the pre-made shadow character is a halfling. But they don't use the term halfling. They use the term
Sorry.
polder. So I thought the term
legally
polder,
distinct.
yes,
Yeah.
which was
There
why
is
I
no
thought
generic.
that a polder was a basically bat-eared dark elf.
No, the Polds are little shadow gnomes.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Legally distinct from both
Also,
hobbits
they have
and halflings.
they have associations and
Shadow.
affinity to shadow. So I was like, okay, cool, dark elf, shadow powers, I can dig it. And then later on, I was like, I'm a
2 feet
halfling.
tall.
Yeah, it was odd. That's the world of Draw Steel is more tied to it than you would think. When I started reading through it, because I'm still considering.
Related.
Yes,
The devils were so good.
devils are great.
The devil intro was my favorite devil intro. Like, 'cause I know
Yeah.
tieflings are the hot thing in 5e. But the devils are so good because it's a failed summoning, and that's hilarious.
They also are like,
Someone
you are a normal person
Oh yeah, you're a regular guy
who just
summoned
looks devilish.
from hell, and then now you're unemployed.
Now you're stuck.
You're summoned from hell to like.
or you're a
stoke
descendant from someone, or or your dad's unemployed and is like,
Yeah, you or an immediate family member is an unemployed devil from hell. Go on an adventure, and that's hilarious.
and it turns out
Yeah.
that the hells, the way they wrote the hells in this game, I was about to complain about the setting. I will be complaining about the setting. This is the exception to that.
This
The
is
hells in
hilarious.
this
This is
game
so good.
is just a fantasy version of a cyberpunk dystopia where all of the devils are forced to work for archdemons, which are basically just mega corporations. Once I realized it, it's like, oh, they're just constantly grappling amongst each other for power, and they're constantly making deals, and like it's just weird fantasy hellish cyberpunk.
It's
I want
so
to play
good.
there.
Yeah,
That's
why
right.
can't we be set in Cyber Hell? Like,
Cyber
Cyber
Hell.
Hell would be hilarious.
It sounds like a lot of the world, which I did not get into at all because we just kind of had generic fantasy for a lot of what we were doing. When it was world specific stuff, it just kind of felt like off brand normal. It was the uncanny valley of,
Yes.
oh, I think I know what a halfling is, never mind. Oh, I think I know what a devil is, never mind.
It's
And sometimes it was awesome like a devil, and sometimes it didn't quite fit like halfling or the way that they interacted with monstrous species.
yeah, it's kitchen sink fantasy, or rather, it looks like kitchen sink fantasy because there's the part of the adventure we're at, which was not originally written for Draw Steel. It was originally written for 5th edition D&D. That's and then adapted. So that's maybe a big part of why. But either way, I don't like kitchen sink fantasy.
Yeah, this very much is kitchen sink fantasy, but the like
But then if you look closer,
mystery
it's
flavored
very
jelly bean
much
style.
not.
Dwarves are rock people. Elves, like they're made of rock. They're physically built of rock.
Yeah, there's a current
Um,
Kickstarter, either current or just finished, called Crack the Sun, where there's like some universe-ending threat sealed in the sun that is a 1 to 20 adventure dealing with it, or 1 to 12, 1 to max level.
No.
It's a matter of taking very familiar things, slightly renaming them, slightly changing them, and saying, it's a new thing, be excited.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, but unless you're going way off the deep end, it's not a new thing.
Yeah.
which is why
And
the
that's
devils
both
are so
good
good.
and bad,
Devils
depending
are
on
so
what
good
you want.
because they're not
Because they
trying
did what
to.
you said. They dropped off the deep end and made cyber hell, and that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can have a
contracts that
tail
get
so you can't be
abandoned.
flanked. That's why devils are cool.
Fair.
But like the Polder, like they're just generic gnome halfling shadow people.
Yeah.
Blah.
A lot of it to me feels like a worst of both worlds kind of thing. Worst part of kitchen sink fantasy in that it just kind of feels like mushy to us who are so used. We have, to continue the kind of gross metaphor, we have chewed on fantasy enough that it is now mush.
I will say though, revenants are very cool. Like,
Oh yeah,
revenants
the
a
fact
lot.
you can just be dead.
You could be
that's
dead and something
also-
else is
I
really
agree.
cool.
Yeah.
But then the
yeah, I
other
do
side of
think-
it is, yeah, it's kind of specifically tied to its setting in ways you don't initially realize, and so there'll be like you'll step on, like, maybe not a nail, but you'll step on a rock basically, and you'll be like, wait, oh, this
Yeah,
is here.
Every so often, the pebble in your shoe will like get you, and you're like, ooh.
There's
Yeah.
also like I just think it's too many. I feel this way about 5e too.
Mm.
There should be like 5 tops.
5
unless-
ancestry
Oh,
choices.
There's too many. Like there's
Oh,
how do you personally as someone who has like done academic-y stuff about society and politics stuff, there's too many races of peoples here with totally different magics and societies and physical nature. I can't personally comprehend
mm.
what this world looks like with this many peoples actively inhabiting
How do
it.
elves work when they
And
don't
yet-
understand the concept of time?
Yeah, it does. Or the time people, time raiders.
Oh my
Speaking
God.
of not understanding
You mean
the
the
concept of
non-copyright
time.
infringing Githyanki? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the non-copyright infringing Githyanki that ride time currents. Like,
And yet, at the same time, we only have villages that are comprised of all humans.
All
or
human village
like,
with a
what do you
here's our most
mean?
technological thing. It's a watermill.
oh, yeah, we're worried about smokehouses and there's time raiders. It's just the people.
But
Well,
like,
even
why
in the
have
book-
all these different races if you're not going to let them mix at all?
Yeah,
At least in
Why?
the
I mean,
adventure, yeah. It's humans and
I think-
goblins.
I think maybe we're also getting caught up on because this is like the starter adventure.
This
This
is
is
a
like how
huge
everything is
thing.
supposed to be. right?
Everything that we are reviewing, it has to, we're going to try to separate it from that lens, but we can't completely. Like,
Yeah.
it's the only, I think it's the only currently available Draw Steel adventure, is it? Until Crack the Sun? Hold on.
Which is... Honestly, I still might play Crack the Sun. But
That
going
sounds
into
really
it with open eyes, mostly because I find that concept hilarious. I'm
You need to
just-
go fight the sun.
I will fight the sun. Everyone wants to fight the sun inside. Inside everyone, someone wants
Well,
to fight. You don't want to fight
Inside
the
you,
sun.
there are two suns.
It's a JRPG.
Kill
You
each
just gotta
other.
go and fight God.
Okay, it's the
Just go fight the
only,
sun.
I think it's the only official adventure. There are fan-made ones.
Mm.
I feel this way about 4E. I'm not touching writing a battle event, like writing a combat for
Yeah.
this with a 5-foot pole.
Yeah,
Um,
especially when every time you hit, no matter what, it just depends on how hard you hit.
I
Well, it's just
haven't
balance.
built a custom encounter for this system. I'm interested in trying it because I think there are lots of like tools for it, and like here's this ability, just copy
yeah.
and paste it into your monster.
I'm sure there are, but I find 5E too taxing to write a good combat encounter for. When I'd rather just say it dies when it feels cool for it to die,
That's fair.
or whatever.
Yeah, that's fair.
And this game feels like it needs it. Like, having played it, it feels like it needs to have the well thought out, like, combat encounter.
Oh, okay. Someone in chat just mentioned an adventure called The Fall of Black Bottom, which I had not heard of. Let me look it up. Oh, yep, that is another official adventure. Cool.
Official.
For 7x. I'm seeing 7x. 4 to 7x.
What?
Apparently, that's a number.
Cool. What else does it
Okay.
specifically...
This seems
oh,
like a good adventure off the top of the head, but yeah, very different.
What is the next question we have?
Yes.
Oh,
But we're
is there
not
a dice
reviewing an
question?
adventure we haven't done. There is not
Yeah.
a specific dice question, but there is a roll question into combat.
Oh,
so,
cool.
um,
We'll get that later then.
yeah.
Initial
I've already lost our
expectations?
place. I've already lost our place in
I'm-
the review.
Question 2.
Question 2. What were our initial
Question
expectations?
2.
We do not really
Oh,
follow the order of questions. What
yeah,
were our initial
initial-
expectations, and how did this game fit and defy them?
For me, initial expectations was it was a 5.75 in the same way that Pathfinder is like a 3.75 like revamp of a Dungeons and Dragons product. On one hand, it's like 50% 5e cranked up on specific aspects, but also I was pleasantly surprised about how much outside influence was brought into that. Like, all the video game stuff I was talking about, those are great aspects to like bring into, especially this kind of genre, that I felt were a welcome addition to just refining 5e mechanics. Like, it definitely made it have a reason to be here in a way that if it was just the refined 5e mechanics, it didn't need to like be here. So I was happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, my only expectation was this is going to be like tactical e-combat. Like maybe at the beginning I probably thought similar-ish to probably Lancer, right? But yeah, I think basically I went in with pretty not low expectations, but like not a lot of preconceived notions.
Yeah, I had played Beacon, which basically is Fantasy Lancer, and so that was what I was mentally really comparing Draw Steel to. Was like, okay, this tactical, heroic, powerful fantasy like game. How does it compare to that? And I think we're gonna get into this, but Draw Steel is a lot more balanced than a Knife's Edge. Beacon has its players be very powerful, in relative to Draw Steel.
Yeah, I went in kind of knowing this was one of the two big 5e remakes, and this was the Tactics one, and that is all I knew. I would say that it fit that very well and taught me new things about what I think about tactics games, which I think we'll probably touch on later.
Yeah. This game wanted you to want to fight.
Yeah, we discovered this in like our second last session when we realized
we tried to do clever things to get around a combat
Yeah,
or to
tried to
avoid
fix
having to
it.
fight a thing.
you tried to
And the
damage
answer is
something
no.
without entering combat, and I was like, hang on a second.
Wait a minute.
It really did feel like we do it for another video game. Have we played Persona where
Oh,
you're
yeah,
in
yeah.
the all right in 5 where you're running around and you gotta sneak up on the bad guy, you hit him with your knife or whatever.
Yep.
And then you enter the combat screen like nothing happened. But you
Yeah,
still did
it
the
has
sneak attack.
definitely
It
one of the
has-
largest
Yeah.
like in combat out of combat differences, basically.
It very
It was-
much felt like you stuck up, and then you initiated combat.
Speaking of video
It's like,
games,
It was not OSR. There was not find a clever solution to deal with this. There was find a well thought out combat in combat with the combat tools we gave you to solve this. No, you aren't supposed to light that tent on fire. You can do that. It's not going to take away any HP or damage from the other person because that's only for combat. So thinking of here, this is a neat way to do it, the game does not want you to. The
Yeah.
game
It even had
wants
a-
you to enjoy
it
the
even had-
fights. The game's about fighting.
It
and
even had a
fighting is not
crushing
about
rule.
fictional positioning, that's part
No.
of one of the big things. Fighting, the rules have built-in fiction with them, but the rules affect the fiction. The fiction doesn't affect the rules, as
Nope,
far as I can
not
tell.
in
One
the
of the
slightest.
things that I liked most, I played once I made my own character, a bard, or sorry, a troubadour. As we've been saying, it's always the Uncanny
put-
Valley version.
I
It's not a
forgot the
bard,
name.
it's a
Infringing bard.
troubadour.
I forgot the name and put Bard under your name on the overlay. I literally thought it was Bard.
I think you also put Berserker instead of I played the tactician. The Berserker was the first session where I did the
Oh, I'm mixing up
dwarf, but then I
games.
did-
Yeah, so you were the
Yeah.
well. I put Berserker because I knew you played it temporarily, but I forgot
Yeah.
you played the Tactician and you also played the Beast Heart.
and played the Beast Heart.
But the thing I really liked about the troubadour is they were fourth wall breaking. A lot of their moves were no, this isn't the battle as it happened. This is the battle as I'm telling it to you people later. No, we weren't actually standing there, we were actually standing over here. So it was built into the moves, that fourth wall break, which was cool. But that was looking back on it, telling fictional positioning. It didn't really allow any fictional positioning in the moment still. Those moves were still the same as any other class's moves.
It was
in the
still you
moment,
have to
it's still
engage
here.
the game like everyone else does, but
Yeah.
the fiction, the mechanics work the same as everyone else. The fiction they create is different, but
The flavor
you don't
text
create
also.
different fiction
Yeah.
for the mechanics. The fiction
Mhm.
itself, the mechanics themselves create different fiction. It's very one-sided relationship between mechanics and fiction.
Yeah, like we could have had the same thing, like the same ability. I feel like you could slot into like a mage. It's like, oh, I teleport us all right, instead of like yours is like,
Yeah.
actually, we weren't there.
As if the moves were pre-programmed.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it didn't feel like, even as a GM, I was like, I don't feel that there is a way I can just say yes without the whole game kind of starting to collapse. So some of the ideas are like, I want to say yes. Those are cool ideas. I didn't feel like the integrity of the game would be maintained if I did. The game doesn't have a way to account for that, at least as far as I
Mhm.
could tell. So with that in
And-
mind, it wants you to engage with it, which is the start of
To
this
be
whole
fair,
topic.
does-
It wants you to engage
to
with
be
it from a very
fair-
specific standpoint.
A lot of games do that. This isn't like just ragging on like this aspect of it. It's just a like reality of the system.
Yeah.
that-
It is.
I think that the reason I'm talking about it so much is because 5e, the big thing that it is go into this and do whatever. Go on a shopping adventure, do X, do Y. Whereas this is again the exact opposite. It's no,
Well-
don't do X or Y. Do exactly what we're telling you.
I feel like 5e does that too. They just lie about it. This game it's not lying about it.
Sort of. Yes and no.
Like, to a less extreme extent, obviously, but like 5e 90 as opposed to this game where 95% of the rules are about combat. 5e 75% of the rules are about combat. Most of your advancements are about combat. Most of the ways you like improve are about doing combat better, whereas your like skills are pretty static as you improve as a character. And even like the breadth of the skills that you get that aren't about fighting are, well, they're about exploration, but even that is kind of just like a passing fancy of the game.
There's a
So
weird
this
hidden
game's pretty direct.
Yeah.
And there's a weird hidden strength in comparison to Draw Steel about 5e's kind of inconsistency. Because 5e is inconsistent, I felt like I could say yes to a lot of things whenever I was GMing it that I wouldn't be able to in Draw Steel. I'd be like, yeah, okay, we can kind of, 5e is this mush, and because it's this mush, we can bend it and
Yeah, you
like
could
twist
sculpt
it
whatever
and
you need
bop
out of
it and whatever we want
To
to
be
do.
fair, that's what Wizards of the Coast wants too, so they can
Exactly.
sell more adventure books that are more
Yeah.
specific to the ways you want to play it. So the mush game that gets shoved into various molds
Yeah.
is what 5e was going for.
Draw steel
Um,
is a knife.
Yeah. It's a sharp knife that you draw. It's not
It's
the
a-
name. It's in the name, and it's so good. The name is so good for this game.
It is.
It's specifically a combat knife. It is used for combat.
Yeah.
There are very few other uses for the
This
combat
knife
knife.
Yeah.
is a weapon.
You could try. You could technically use it to cut like vegetables. There is a cooking.
I
thing
would
in
not
the game.
suggest it.
You could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could use it to skin a fish, the fishing minigame.
Yep.
We'll get to that. We'll get to
Love the
my
fishing
favorite
minigame.
part.
Yes. But yeah, it wants you to be like, there's a fight. I love fighting. Let's go fight. And then the way it wants you to engage in the fight is smart ideas. Save it for the fight, and save it for how you spend your points and your turn order and your actions and everything. And that's and you're like, you optimize the resources you've been given. And by resources, I both mean the literal points, but also resources of your action and your movement and initiative and things like that,
And your health.
and your health. Yep.
Yes.
All right.
Let's
That was mindset.
Um,
Question 3.
I think we should. Do we want to just jump into combat and skip
Yes,
ahead
let's.
because we literally are like, it wants you to do combat.
Yeah, let's
talk
just
about
combat.
Talk about
Um,
combat, then we'll get back to characters because I do have things to say about.
Oh yes.
Or I mean,
characters.
we could touch on the book layout first because Marissa didn't use the book. I mean, I kind of used the book, but in a way, I used it in the sense of like I went to the glossary and I went, "What's this thing?" Like looking up rules and stuff, which is actually really good at.
That's
They
fair.
put the glossary right in the front. I like
They
that a
have
lot.
a
As-
SRD style one that I looked at. So.
Yeah,
Part of my research for the game I'm making, which I don't want to talk about here, but part of it is I want to read other games that are at least kind of in the same sphere as it. So I read this front to back. I didn't read
Cool.
every word for word.
Before
I may
too.
have skimmed some of the class stuff, but you know.
Oh, you didn't
broadly
read
speaking,
every
I read it
every
front to
single
back.
spell.
Broadly speaking, I read it front to back.
Yeesh.
I did
The
take
only
some,
one-
I mean, there's some cool stuff in there.
I have read Burning Wheel front to back. I really can't.
Yeah.
I can't
No,
judge.
it took me a while. It took me weeks of like having it on my phone while we were traveling for hours and like intentionally spending time doing it. But I did it.
I don't want to backtrack, but I'm just now realizing the Time Raiders, aka the Githyanki, have 4 fucking arms, and I did not realize
yeah,
that.
they're cool.
The art, they're Goros.
Okay, so we're talking about the book. The art is great.
The art is really good.
I don't okay. I like the art for this game. I'm going to backtrack slightly, actually. I think the art is also really good for kitchen sink fantasy.
It's fair.
I like it and dislike it at the same time. It's quality. It's colorful. It's great posing, great action, great like things that are happening during it, great variety whenever it shows like here's an ancestry, here's at least 2 very different from each other examples of what that type of ancestry can look like. But after coming from like the Electrum archive or the Wild Sea, it's just the same. This is just an extension of the setting to me. It's just not weird enough for me, and that's not bad.
No,
But it is.
it's just like we've seen some shit, you know?
Yeah. We came back from the front of indie games.
It's like it
It
takes
really
a
did
lot
go
for us to
from
go
weirdness,
ooh now, you
Like,
know?
we're fighting the fungal wastes or whatever. It's like,
Fungal
going
waste.
back to bandits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No more
it's
moon
really
rifles.
good for it, like
Bring on well.
with the fact that it's portraying its setting, which we already talked about. Okay, combat.
Yeah, now combat.
So initiative. Most of the time it's fine, except Jordan took a class that broke it wide open because there's only 3. The ability you have is 2 other players and go right after you, and there's
It's
only
everyone
3
in your-
players.
Everyone else in your group.
I thought it was specifically 2 other players, but
Let me
the
see.
problem
I thought it was
is
everyone.
the whole group is 2 other players.
Yeah. That's Friday.
Mine was 2 other players, if that helps.
Wait,
Yours
you-
was. I know. I had
Oh.
one that was like. I think
Maybe-
2 other players could use their move action. Let me see.
But the way that
Either way.
initiative basically works is
How
it's
it's
a
supposed to
back
work.
and forth turn order.
Yeah, I think popcorn initiative is a like common term for this, where you like throw something between each other to represent. Yeah, okay, it's your turn now.
You were right. It is two allies.
Yeah, so having that when the whole group is 3 people is huge.
Really good. If I go, we all go.
Yep.
Yeah, I
favorite.
mean, honestly, I do kind of like the popcorn initiative. Like
It
that
works.
does seem, that does.
Yeah.
I do like that, especially in this tactical game. It gives everyone kind of a chance to breathe, with the game master taking turns in between you, and also it makes it a little bit more loosey goosey than trying to roll initiative, because rolling initiative is kind of
Initiative itself becomes a decision that the group makes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is
It's
one
another
of
tactical thing.
yeah,
it is
and
one of the tactical decisions. I'll give it. This is a. I was saying beforehand I didn't feel the tactics, but the initiative is a tactical decision that you get to make in a way that. I mean, other games that have like weirdly tactical RPG, like tactical initiatives, the only one I could think of is Shadowrun, and I hate that. So
yeah, Beacon actually has
Lancer,
a series of
Beacon.
phases, and you basically the earlier you can do different actions in different phases, and you choose. Anyway, it works. It's different. It's faster than it sounds. It's literally faster to do than to explain. But yeah.
But when it did come to initiative, it was very much tactical. It did occasionally feel a little bit frustrating because it's like, okay, I have eliminated all of this one group of enemy. Hooray! Oh wait, the initiative means that just a different group is going to go. So it didn't
Mhm.
actually feel like it benefited us in some cases.
It definitely did
Uh,
benefit you, but because
But
everyone
I
goes
think
once
that
per
was
round.
more because there was, when it came to this game, you either had one very strong enemy or just waves and hordes of
Minions.
congratulations. There's
It
4 to
felt
6 people going on this turn, and then it goes back to one PC again, and it's like,
yeah.
how
Persona
are you supposed to do this?
Persona 5 Strikers is the only game I've played, but they're the Dynasty Warriors games are the most well known. I am one guy fighting a horde of enemies and winning, like kind of game.
Yep.
It felt like
It
that.
felt like that some of the time. You could never quite tell, were they going to be one of a horde or were they going to be one of the strong ones, and
Especially because they
sometimes
mix
that
and
was a bit
match. Because
overwhelming.
a group of minions can have a regular enemy type commander that gives them a passive buff. That didn't directly come up much, but it did happen. Indigo, what were you gonna say?
Oh, the minion shared health pool spillover damage? Absolutely
That was funny.
ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. No, what do you mean the goblin
kinda
across
liked
the
it.
room burst into flames out of sympathy? Like, what is
Yeah,
this?
it felt like a
combustion is
it felt like an
ridiculous.
in-game like bowling pin sound effect, basically.
Oh, Greg, you got hit with a hammer too hard. I guess my leg's broken. It's...
I mean, I think it does hit that sort of like heroic fantasy, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I hit this dude so hard I killed the guy next to him, or I hit this guy's head so hard I hit the guy over there.
Every time?
There,
I don't know.
It's like on a crit. It's like default rules.
yeah. So part of I think this was how the adventure sometimes had groups of minions with the same health pool that were not in the same location. They would be like, here's a group of 5, and here's a different group of 5, and they're actually the same group. So if you kill this one, and you crit, and you roll so much damage, all 10 of them are dead.
I think one of the really big strengths of that system was, again, it was good at making things more tactical, because tactics were about where are you located in relation to where your enemy's located. When are you choosing to use an AoE attack versus when are you choosing to use a single attack, stuff like that. And because of that, it was a way of giving you a lot more enemies and a lot more tactical tactical decisions without bloating their health pools to the high end of stuff. Whereas the only other way I can see of doing that is do a very few enemies with much higher health pools. So it made it more tactical, but it was kind of funny.
It
when
felt
it was
like a
happening,
video
for
game
sure.
where, like, okay, these
Yes.
are the minion enemies. I can hit them with one hit. Oh, these are the named enemies. Oh, they have like more health than everyone else combined that I'm fighting.
Yeah.
Which felt
And
a bit
once you
odd.
realized that the minion enemies' health spilled over, it changed the tactics, but it changed it in a metagamey way. It's like,
Yeah.
oh wait, if I just hit this one minion really hard, it doesn't actually matter that I didn't catch them all in an AoE.
Single target. Well, AoE was still stronger because you would do the full damage to each of them, but single
Yeah.
target was no longer useless against hordes of enemies, which was
Yeah,
nice.
which should nice,
but
but
again,
also
felt metagamey.
it's pretty metagame, but also totally removes the tactical advantage of being an AoE focused character. If
There is
the AoE benefit that is normally lost by doing the all my chickens in one basket kind of attack.
Yeah.
You can't hit all the enemies. This is a real deep cut, but Pathfinder 1E has a whole series of feats that you can take to do the samurai one cut, one kill thing at super high level, where it's like you have 4 attacks per turn, but if you spend all 4 attacks on, like, all 4 attack rolls on one attack, you can cut the guy in half as, like, its core focus. But, like, the downside is you can't hit 4 different people, or you can't split the damage and affect the whole thing. Like, it's a tactical decision to go down that route to specialize in doing a single high damage attack. Where in this game, that makes you the perfect AoE character. If you can charge as much damage into one minion as possible,
In one single
you
hit.
can microwave his family.
There's one house rule on top of my head I would do. So that's a way to put it.
Microwave is good.
So I would do
the
one
radiation
house
from
rule to this, which I might do when running the game, which is minions spread damage to minions in their group if they're next to them. And then you can get
Adjacent
weird with it. Be
minions.
like, okay, well,
Yeah.
I'm going to hit this minion, who's then going to... And you could, like, start chain dominoing minions by having them next
you
to each
can
other,
chain
which will then
link the
having
minions.
push... and then you could push minions into each
So-
other to set up your chains or something.
Though, as
Yeah.
we were
This is the
talking
whole
about
game now.
earlier, with 5e, you can kind of make these changes. Draw steel, I'm not sure you can.
Yeah.
The balance on draw steel was so close that I actually
Yep.
worried that a house rule that small would
You would
wildly
need to account
unbalance
for
the
minion
game.
strength by just making that change. Minions would be stronger.
So much
Minions
stronger.
would be incredibly stronger, and I'm not sure PCs would be able to survive it.
Because there's the single
So-
tactic of 5-foot bubble buddies, so we don't get exploded.
Exactly. Like, draw steel is very balanced. Again, we
It
pulled that
was-
nice edge again, but it was the first. Here's where I will talk about it. We've played a lot of different tactics games, which say that they are tactics games. Lancer, Pathfinder, games where the focus is go in, fight, make sure you're positioning right. Draw Steel was more of a tactics game to me than any of these other games. Mostly because it felt like if we weren't actually doing well, not well because the dice rolls rolled well, because you always damaged when you hit, but if we weren't doing well in choosing what we chose for our actions those turns, we were going to go down. It was a knife's edge the entire game of it's this close from a TPK. And Draw Steel did that wonderfully. And because of that, Draw Steel taught me that I don't actually like tactics games because every other tactics game I've ever played had an element of power fantasy in it. And that's the thing that kind of makes it feel awesome. A tactics game without that element of power fantasy is interesting, but stressful. So it was very, very finely balanced and very well done. And because of that, it taught me that it wasn't the game for me, which was weird. Fun self-realizations.
Ooh.
Your video and sound is very off by like a quarter of a second, and I'm just noticing it. I don't think there's anything we can feasibly do about that, and you're still totally understandable. And I agree. This was kill it before we die type of tactics. This has an upside to it, which is it stops the PCs from playing too defensively. It stops like turtle strategies and things like that, which we'll get into like Malice and other things that also play into that. But it's like it. There's a lot of pressure that you are all under in every fight.
Yeah.
And it felt like the only way of solving that pressure was to have an out-of-game discussion with the players. There wasn't as much room for in-game what would my character do, because if you did that instead of the tactically sound move, you were just going to doom the entirety of your party.
Yeah. It isn't do cool thing. It despite being heroic, I don't think you felt powerful in that, which I would say is a critical part of feeling heroic. It's this weird simultaneous thing where you need to feel powerful and you need to feel under pressure constantly, is part of what the game is built to cause you to act heroically. It definitely succeeds on the pressure part. I think Minions was the attempt to try and make you feel powerful nonetheless by having you like take out hordes of people, but I think as we're describing it kind of didn't work for us in evoking that feeling.
It felt more overwhelming when you saw literally 30 people in a combat and you're like, we're a party of 3.
And then you hit one with a rock and then 5 of them fall down. You're like, oh, they're cardboard people. Okay, we're good.
I think it tries to get that feeling of like heroicness from when you make your character, right? Because I remember looking at the classes and thinking like, pretty much everyone except for the tactician and then maybe the troubadour. I didn't look at the troubadour a lot, but like everyone has sort of magical thing they can do, or like it's flavored
Everyone's
as
a wizard.
Everyone's a wizard.
The troubadour's a metal wizard.
But like, tactician was the one that was like, no, you're just really, really good at fighting and like commanding people.
Yep.
But kind of wizardy. I break the fundamental law of how fights work in this universe power.
Yeah. You're weirdly the most wizardy from a meta perspective.
That was just like, hey, we've trained for this. That's literally the name of the move is we've trained for this. It's just we have drilled so hard, we get to go first.
The flavoring and names of the moves worked really well, I think.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, but my point is it is still kind of basically magical, which snowballs into the silliest pedantic pet peeve I have. All of the stupid PowerPoint names, every single class had their own key points. Every single class had their own special spell slots. Every single class had, what is the other ones I can think of? Karma Pool, or
Fate
Paradox
points.
Meter, or like
Limit Break.
Fate points, Persona points, like, you take your pick. Everyone had their own special snowflake thing. They all refresh at the exact same rate. All of the abilities cost the exact same amount of these magical points. Why are there different names?
Just call them mana.
They did actually refresh differently sometimes between classes.
Certain
there
classes.
was one class that I got 2
no,
different
different ways.
rolled in 1d3.
Yeah, the 2 options were 1d3 or 2 per turn. An average of 1d3 is 2. So
there's also additional ways they could.
They all have their own different extra ways to get them most of the time.
They can be triggered for 1 point once per turn.
I
Less than mostly.
Some of them have all sorts of weird ways. The Bard has their own weird ways. The Conduit, I think, the Paladin equivalent, I think that's the Censor. The Censor has their own extra stuff with like Wrath and Judged people.
If any of you died, I would have gotten 10 all at once. So your death would have been meaningful.
If you died,
it would have been dramatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Nonetheless,
I could essentially not die.
With the exception of maybe Drama, they all could have been called mana.
Yeah.
They all could have been called mana, and you could have made the cool Bard ability to get death magic out of the corpses. Like, you could have made that a separate, really cool ability. Like, you didn't scrap that idea. That's a great idea.
If you don't want it to be called, like, mana because of, like, the the connotations to magic, even though every ability is a little magical. Just call them
Yeah.
like hero points. Like everyone gets this many hero points, and that's what you could do to do heroic things. But they
Resolve.
probably couldn't use hero points because of
Oh, sorry, no.
Pathfinder.
I mean,
Stunt
when I'm
points.
looking
You
at my
forgot about
Roll20
stunts.
when I'm looking at the Roll20 sheet, it's literally called heroic resource, not
Yeah,
drama.
heroic resource.
Yeah.
Just call it heroism,
Yeah, that's
because
true.
you get it when you do the thing that's like heroic a lot of the time.
Yeah, everyone regains heroism in a different way,
Yeah.
and that's just what the class is.
Now, these points are not to be confused with victories, which is your meta experience that you use for fighting and then use for experience when you put your sword down for the day.
Yeah, when you take a nap.
Malice, GM hate points. They can just make hard moves every turn. Here's their pool of points that they
Yeah.
can save up for 2
Extra
turns.
bad
And
And
the
hit
longer the fight
face,
goes, the badder it gets.
Yeah, you want to
Yes,
finish things as quickly as possible.
which is more hit hard.
Surges are
it's-
different hero points.
Different
That-
hero
yeah,
points.
I feel like we
only for
barely use
damage,
them.
though.
That's
There-
the
I use
weird
them
thing.
occasionally.
Surges
Like
can be
the
used.
old-
Certain classes interact with them more. The Shadow did. Had lots of stuff with
Okay.
surges.
Yeah, it's the Shadow uses surges for their sneak attack.
Mm.
The Wizard uses, or the Elementalist, sorry, not the Wizard, uses their surges to add more like spell damage and stuff. They're like a damage addition point system that are totally separate from everything else. There is
Yeah.
just
Don't forget about
you get your-
recoveries.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
your limited recoveries. That is a fourth edition mechanic.
It is.
So,
Yeah.
the like,
just like
which
a
I
little
don't hate.
heal.
I
Mm.
do
Yeah.
like the limited heal recovery. It opens up fictional positioning in a way out for healing outside of magical or divine means, which is cool. It's a slight change of pace
Yeah.
that there is
I like-
non-magical healing that's represented in a fair and equivalent way. And it's a little in a game that's not focused on story or exploration. Having it be based on nap time like D&D doesn't really make sense.
And they actually
like,
called it
Again-
stamina, which is what it is anyways. Like, hit points
Which is
are
great.
stamina fictionally,
it.
because you don't fully get stabbed every time you get stabbed.
Yeah.
I also really like the way they've done it with, like, it's a third, not a half, that you get back, because we'll get to boss fights in full later, but when you're in a difficult fight and you're taking a lot of damage, even though you have most of your recoveries left, that's still bad because you can't use them all at once, even though they're not hard to use.
Your bonus action is a choice on when you're going to use the recovery, which
Yeah.
was again made that aspect of it really tactical, and that worked very well.
Yes.
Abilities, everyone has spells.
Everyone has spells,
Everyone has
and,
a little
like, you start with, like, 6 of them at level 1.
Yeah.
That's why they break it down.
That's
at the
why, yeah,
beginning.
they split it up. You're like, here's your basic attacks, and here's your basic unique abilities, and also here's your basic abilities that cost 3 hero resources, and also here's your basic abilities that cost 5 hero resources, and then here's other stuff.
Yeah, here's your spells. They use your spell slots, and this was the main thing that I have heard, at least, one of the major criticisms of 4th edition, that I am surprised they wanted to continue the tradition of everyone's a wizard now, of everyone has everyone has their personal spell list, and their whole thing is they cast from their spell list.
I think the only other way
Yeah,
to
because
do that is to go the route of Lancer, though, which would be that basically to make it modular with mechs and licenses and weapons.
That's kind of what kits are. They're a little modular, right?
Yes.
True.
Yeah, but by everyone is a wizard, I don't mean literally everyone casts ranged spells or whatever. I mean that everyone is looking at their list of powers and they're pushing which power button they want to do. Whereas in a more, I don't want to say traditional, but a more OSR style game, the wizard has the list of powers they choose. The fighter has a stick they beat with, and other classes are in the middle of that gradient of how many things are they pushing buttons off their character sheet, and how many things are they making decisions or making rolls to achieve.
There is no simple class in Drosteel.
And that might be why
Well,
I keep
simple
calling it
isn't
tactical.
that.
Because there is no such thing as I go up and I hit it. Like that's not an option in any class. You're right in that everyone's a wizard, in that everyone goes into their turn looking at 15 different options there.
Yeah. How
So
do
this
you
is
hit it?
not a game to play with anyone who has choice paralysis.
I will say, I think I built my tactician as the most I go up and hit it, or I do like I check to see do I have enough points to make us all go first. Like
Yeah.
that's all I really
'Cause
do with
because-
tactician.
But yeah, you built them to be like I go up and I hit it, but I hit it with this specific power.
Yeah, I
Um,
either move in a straight line and hit it and deal extra damage, or they hit me, so I hit them harder. That was my two
Yeah, but you're
kits.
casting running strike with your
Actually,
ability points.
to go off of that, there were 15 different options. But as you say that, I'm realizing for myself too, there was always an optimal option, and in almost every case, it was the same option for me. It was always best to use my mover to run around and taunt because it just gave me so much more movement, and then do something that damaged the other person.
I
So
think
while I had a lot of options, there was always the this is the best usually.
keep in mind you both built your characters with specific actions in mind, and I think
Yeah.
Marissa, you built your character very
Very
specialized
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
So that if you want to build a broader character, I think that's very possible. I think most of the pre-made characters are a bit more broader.
I had two choices. It was hit one person with a lot of fire, or hit a lot of people with a little bit of fire.
I mean, you're the elementalist. That's
I mean, I'm saying it was a pre-built character. Like, I didn't build mine with a
Yes.
specific intention. I had a broad skill set where I had three choices, basically, to pick from. It's get
that's fair.
myself out of danger, hit a group, hit one person, and all other choices are moot.
Yeah.
That's
And
fair.
then
That's fair.
I will touch a little bit on the Beast Heart because that's like playtest material.
Yeah.
And I didn't
Is
do
it
it with
still
this group.
playtest material? It's
Unless
on
I
one of
saw.
their like backstarter kick. No, one of their backer kit ones is
don't-
like advertising it, so it might be beyond playtest material now.
I was using the playtest version.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that one was interesting because that's like basically the ranger, but less of like a tamed pet and more like the more you use your heroic abilities, the more wild your animal gets. And also you like share. It was very complicated. I played a very not complicated tactician and a very complicated
You
beast
did.
because
did.
you
Four
shared.
subclasses? I guess so does the elementalist.
Yeah.
Um,
So for the beast heart is you shared your main action and your maneuver between yourself and your companion, but you both had separate move actions. So if I used a main action, my bear could have to use the maneuver. If my bear used a main action, I had to use a maneuver.
You couldn't. No, neither of you were allowed to use both.
Yes.
You couldn't be like, okay, my bear's doing nothing this turn. I'm using both. You can't do that. You
no.
must do only one of the two, and your bear must do only the other of the two.
you did
And
pick
also-
gelatinous ball, correct?
I picked bear because the bear was better.
That's the wrong
I
choice.
did flavor it as a
Gooball.
gelatinous being though.
Yeah, you
Gooball
were a
is
revenant.
correct choice.
You were a dead revenant. No,
I was a polder
Polder.
revenant.
who got
And
eaten.
the backstory was I got eaten by the gelatinous being that was my bear, and then we became friends. And he just chose to be like different animals to fit into society. And I was a skeleton. That part of him made me look normal.
That's super fun.
It's very fun. And also, Beastheart had separate kits because it doesn't quite work that a bear can't really wear full plate. So that was fun.
Which
but-
makes it even worse. They do specifically say the Beast Heart was originally written for 5e.
Mm,
We've mentioned kits a few times, so I'd love to go into and say what that is.
Yeah, I didn't
because
get
I
one,
found that
so-
very unusual because kit was mostly like I would think of it as like picking my equipment, but it wasn't really picking an equipment. It was picking your fighting style.
Yeah,
So
it's how
it'd
you
say,
do
yeah,
damage.
I
Yes.
use 2 weapons, or I use a long arm, or I use nothing but my fists, and then it would give you different things depending on that. Like maybe it's stability, maybe you can't be pushed over because you're wearing heavy plate, or maybe you can move extra fast because you are not using any weapons. Or maybe one of the ones I was very tempted by is if you get high damage and you crit, you do more damage there, but nothing for the rest of it. So it was a way of customizing a fighting style rather than tying it specifically to a weapon that you were using, which was kind of neat. But then not every class got it.
mm.
There's that. I will say the thing about kits, in my opinion at least, they eliminate loot. Kits are anti-loot.
Yep.
Um,
This game is
you are
weirdly
never
not about
cons-
loot.
Yeah, you don't acquire wealth or swords.
There is
The
wealth.
lack of magic swords.
Wealth
Sorry, you're right. You
and
can't get
renown.
generic money and good vibes.
2 more resources.
Um,
They're not combat resources, but 2 more resources.
Yeah.
Like,
Um,
you don't pick up magic swords. This is not a quest for the Great Blade. There is no, I'm finding pieces of my ancestral armor strewn across this great land. There is no peasant farmer boy coming in with a scythe, and by the time we make it to the dragon, I have full plate and a battle axe.
Yeah.
Like, there is
You can do
no
that narratively,
glue-
but the game isn't
narratively,
about
you
what
just get
you
switch
wear.
kits.
Yeah,
Just
narratively
like
you
Devil-
switch kits, and you.
I buy the knight
So
kit.
let's talk about treasure.
yeah.
'Cause
I
there
was gonna
is
say
loot in this game,
there is,
but
loot
it's
because
only capital L.
Yeah, I will say in the kits it does say, because like Marissa said, you choose like a weapon and an armor, like as part of the kit you choose. It says you use this kind of weapon and this kind of armor. And I remember looking at treasures in relation to kits, and it says like if it's a heavy weapon, that's like, let's say it's a +1 heavy weapon, you can only use that with a heavy weapon kit. But you would just switch kits if you like wanted to use it, you know. Like
Yeah.
that was the
You
cool
like,
thing about
oh,
Tactician was I chose 2, and both of them I
Ooh.
made sure were heavy weapons just in case.
But it's like, yeah, no, I got this cool rapier. I guess you need to get soft pants on now, buddy. You can't.
But there are actually quite a number of treasures. The pre-made adventure has like 20, I think, almost like treasures that I made handouts for, and some of them are like, here's what's basically an ever-burning torch. Some of them are potions. Some of them are magic cloaks. Is there a magic sword in here?
I know there is a magic pendant.
There's a magic axe.
It's just wild to me, as someone who self-describes the bulk of the fiction I read of magic sword books, that this game had a shocking lack of magic swords.
It wants you to magic stuff. From what I can see, it never wants you to just buy them or have them by default. It wants you to get them only through adventures, kind of, because of downtime.
I think it should be.
Pace it
It's
out really
dangerous to
slowly.
go alone. Take this magic sword.
It doesn't have item builds. That's not like, it has kits, but when it comes to treasures, a treasure, I don't think. Oh, you've never seen it. I'm looking it through. Like, what of these treasures have I shown to you guys? 0. You have literally in our game found
Sure.
0 treasures out of the like almost 20. Okay,
Cool.
I mean, technically
Which
we found
also
one, but
tells
we
you
don't know
something.
it's a treasure, because I know in the Friday game we found out it's a treasure.
But that also says something. We played 5 sessions worth and found 0 treasure.
Yeah.
Now there's
Which
a lot
is-
of them in there, so maybe it's our play style. Who knows? But you can go for that long and not get loot. So it is not a Diablo like
it's
find something, change
yeah.
out your stuff.
loot and treasures are meant to be like neat extras. They're not core to the game. You could play the whole game without ever getting a treasure, and I think that
So the
you mechanically wouldn't miss anything.
so the tactician, what was your kit? Because you were clearly a panther for your devastating rush.
Let me.
What was your
I just
second
closed
kit?
up 20. It was I think Panther and Mountain.
Mountain?
It
Yeah,
might have been
mountain
Mountain.
kit, heavy armor, heavy weapon.
Yeah.
That's the pain for pain. Yeah, you
Yes.
had so much. That was a good combo. Although I do like the panther, it makes me think of that one guy from Naruto with the giant sword.
I have not seen a lot of Naruto. So
Me
I don't
neither.
know,
I
but,
saw the first like arc.
All right,
Yeah,
I'm sorry you didn't watch late night TV in the year 2007.
Oh
but-
no, I did. I was just
No.
also like, God, 2007. 2007. I was 10 years old.
I was 15 and playing World of Warcraft by then.
Well, you missed Naruto on Toonami. It was playing.
There.
I made
Yeah,
up a date. No one look it up. But anyway, that's what it made me think of.
yeah. I like the
Armored
names. Like the
giant
names
swords.
for the kits are really cool. Just
Yeah, they are cool.
You know,
They're
that.
pretty evocative. I wasn't trying to say that as a negative that this game doesn't do loot. But like it doesn't do loot. But if you want to be big guy, no weapon, giant sword, we got you. If you want to be guy who punches, no armor, only unarmed strikes. Not like a monk or anyone who knows how to fight. No, you just beat people. We got
There is
that
a monk
one.
class too, though.
There is a monk class that's
Yeah, the
separate
null.
from the pugilist.
Speaking of everyone being a mage, 2 of the classes have built-in psionics.
That's true.
Oh, that's braid magic. What do you mean, not
Brain
a mage?
magic.
I said being a mage. Yeah, everyone is a wizard, including brain magic. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's
Funny enough, there's no wizard in like a traditional sense.
no,
There
which
is
is
no
probably the
I
smart
read
thing to do
books.
with everyone being a wizard,
Yeah.
like you said.
Which is, it's fine, but like there is no I read books to gain power. I'll talk about the class I have, because then we're talking about classes.
Yeah.
Because mine was the wizard. I was the elementalist. I just had fire magic. It doesn't say much else. There's no like study involved. It's
There's
just...
there's no why to a lot of the magic, which again makes it feel
No.
weird with the adventure basically not having everyday magic for anyone. But there's
Which
magic
means
stuff you
that-
can find around, and there's like
Mhm.
notable enemies will have magic, and that's it. And you,
Yep.
who have
I-
the most magic.
I made up a reason for fun. Because all it says is years of study and practice, and poring over your tomes, like, allow you to manipulate the building blocks to reality. You read enough books, you can melt people.
Yep.
That's it. It's a straight
Yeah.
line from the library to,
Yeah.
like, weaponized elemental power. There's no secret ceremony. I made up a stupid reason about why I have magic, because it made me laugh.
Yep.
You pick what flavor of wizard you are. It's air, earth, fire, green, rot, void, water.
Oh, I love that season of Avatar.
Yeah. Give me the void bender.
The void benders. The rot benders.
It wasn't the same until the void benders attacked. Yeah, the PDF I'm looking at says rot as an elemental specialization, as the element of death, but then doesn't actually give you any of the rules to specialize in rot.
Let me-
Yes,
let me check.
I think they're planning to release it later. I think I've
I
heard
think
this.
they're going to release a bad guys kit, which with rot
could be.
wizards.
Yeah.
Rot wizards.
Um.
But like, it's a little bit of a teaser. Like, this is a canonical one of the elemental powers, but like, heroes would never, so it's not even on the list.
Yeah. Every class has at least 3 specializations. The elementals is 4. And the
Oh, it's 5.
oh, is it 5?
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's no air either.
Yeah, apparently.
They list it in
Speak-
the list. The list has 6,
Yeah.
and then
Then you have actually
the
4.
list has more. 6.
Five,
The list has
six,
7. I don't know why I can't count. The list has 7. They give you 4. Earth, fire, green, void.
I'm checking the elementalist like in the book just to see. Air, earth, fire, green, rot, void, water. Yeah.
Yeah, you can only pick earth, fire, green, void.
That's true. Yeah, that's weird.
The cleric has 12 specializations because they're each a different separate domain.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'm glad I did play one of those.
I
It
had
actually wasn't
essence.
crazy because they
Mhm.
but yeah.
Essence, I could teleport, and guess what? I could throw fire spells. There was the biggest spell I got was teleport with fire.
Mm.
Those were the
What
two
about-
things.
I
What
think
about the flesh, a crucible?
That's fire. I melted your bones.
Yep. The classes are interesting. I think to me they feel like D&D classes, but they're interesting to read.
They're interesting to read. They don't feel like D&D classes to me,
Mhm.
especially the wizard's the one I'm sticking with because it's the one I played. The wizard you have to customize in D&D as you play them, as you level up and get stronger. Even in 5e, which pulls away from that the most, you still have to customize your wizard. You have to unlock spells. You have to make decisions. This is you pick a lane. The lane ends in God of Fire. By level 12, you are the sun.
I see the elemental is more of a sorcerer, which is again in 5th edition it's not that different from wizard. But thematically I know I have seen and maybe played multiple fire sorcerers. that
Yeah,
are
it's just
like,
that you
But-
don't make any choices.
Yeah.
That is the interesting thing I agree with. As you level up, like you are picking at the very first level which lane are you going in, and once you pass that, you do not have decisions. You get new things, you do not have decisions about what you're going to get with those things. So if you're really metagaming and you think the campaign's going to go on long, you've got a whole lot of reading to do at level 1. But if you are not, congratulations, you made a quick choice at level 1 that's going to affect the entire rest of your time of play.
Now, to be clear, I think there are some decisions at the in addition to your specialization. Like at second level, you pick one of two. It's like here's you. Depending on your troubadour class act grants your choice of one of two abilities. So it actually lists 6 abilities in 3 pairs of 2, depending on your specialization. You pick between 2 of them. So there are some decisions. However, the number of decisions you make with every level up combined, 2 to 12, is less than the number of decisions you make when making a character.
Yeah, and I know this is probably just like a matter of preference, but I remember like when 5e first came out, a lot of people were like, "Well, you don't get like a lot of your class abilities until level 3." So
Mhm.
from
Yeah.
1 to 3, you're like just like a lot of them are like you're just a fighter or a worse fighter if you're not a fighter.
And that's why it's
Yeah.
common to start at 3rd level because everyone has their subclass by then.
Yeah. So this just could just be the other end of that coin of you have like I'm a fire mage and I'm gonna
Well,
fire mage all the time.
it's once again, this game is, from my opinion, very intentional. This is
Yeah.
very much like, we don't want you making level up decisions. It is not important. It's not cool. We're not killing monsters when we're doing homework session, designing our next level.
Yeah.
That's
Especially
not
'cause
monster murder.
Especially because you level up when you rest, and you have other decisions to make when you rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have
Good segue.
downtime.
Time.
Downtime. Which is actually not that complicated, but
No,
also...
there's only one activity.
There's only one activity. It's fishing.
Go ahead.
It's fishing. There's fishing. There's a fishing mini game, and that means there's no other downtime activity.
Yeah,
it's
there are
actually a pretty
others
good
in the
fishing-
book, but I don't know why they're there because no one would ever
Yeah.
choose them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who
you
would
can
not
fish,
pick fishing?
and if you fish good, you get a good meal bonus for your
get better at
next
fishing.
fight.
You can get new, unique stuff for fishing. Whoever wrote the fishing stuff, it's
man,
great.
it's a masterful addition. It is so well integrated into the game that it was a double take of, ooh, what can we do for downtime? All of the stuff you'd expect, like sharpen your skills, talk to your followers,
Learn a
which
new
we haven't talked
language.
about. Yeah, learn a new language, or fish. And it's like, oh, fish, what does fishing entail? Giant table where you could pull a kraken out of a toilet. It's hilarious. It's great.
And like
it's so
half
good. I
of
love
it is
fishing.
meme stuff of like you're just kind of you fish to get better at fishing and that's it. But then when you
That's
get
it. It's-
really good at fishing, then it starts to get weird and interact with the rest of the game, and you like start to get buffs in the rest of the game just from being good at fishing.
I will say it is so funny that they front load like for your downtime, like, oh, you can craft, and then the first crafting project they show you is build an airship.
Yeah, here
No
you can
one
craft.
could do
Here's
at first level.
Exactly.
Not a
Nothing to look
chance.
forward to. And then you scroll down more, it's like, oh, fishing. they should front load fishing.
yes. There's a lot of different things, but you just get one downtime action per downtime.
Yeah.
and
Which is a good number. 1, maybe 2 is the best numbers. Because otherwise you get forever on it. Like a limited resource makes it fun.
especially if you have to level up
Yeah.
while doing it.
Only reason I was hesitant with the 1 resource per downtime is I think I was the only one who tried to do a project. And a simple project of I want to research X that might help us with the quest needed about 30 to 35 points. With 1 action, I got 7. I got a side person to do the same thing, and I got a few more. So it would have taken about 5 downtimes to research 1 slight thing, so it felt like downtimes I did not have enough to be able to do anything meaningful in the downtime.
Yeah, there is. So another part of character creation is you choose like
A
I
background.
don't know if it's the background, and some of those backgrounds have like pre-loaded project points that you could put into stuff. So like you go, oh, I've already been
Mm.
researching this, or I've already been doing this, and I think
That's
a lot
all,
of them are
but
like 20 or
that's front loaded.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like you get that pool of points at the start, but like if you want to research the big bad guy, you somehow have to make an excuse to take a month off. Like
you can have said, "Oh, I've been researching the main bad guy. Let me put all my research points from my background into this."
If you had those, I did not have those.
Yes.
So
There's another
again,
aspect
it's
to
kind of
this.
another choice that you're making as you create a character.
There's another aspect to downtime though, which is followers. As you level up and get renown, which can be just from leveling up, but also certain backgrounds start with more, but also quest rewards might give you more. Either way, you get renown. Every 3 renown, you can have a follower. Followers are basically free specialized downtime actions every downtime. So that is why you start with 1. That's any kind, but get more over time as you level up is by accruing followers who are. There's one type that can be sort of like adventuring hirelings, but the other 2 types are research and crafting downtime action people.
The work monkeys.
Yeah, and you can load up on them because by the end, you like at level 3, you would each individually have an extra one. By level 12, I think you each have 4 or something like that hirelings.
yeah. So you can also have your hirelings tack on to your fishing crew. It only
Could also go on a
increase-
group fishing trip.
You
Group
see, that's
fishing
when
trip?
you get a shrimping boat. Go
Yeah,
out shrimping with
boat.
Bubba.
I do think a sillier use for your hirelings though is send them to hang out with your grandma, because spending time with loved ones is a valid downtime option with a
You see-
project roll table where you do roll and you can get you can fleece money from grandma.
I love that
Yeah.
downtime activity, but in this adventure, it clearly states you are not from this town. So unless you have like a 23rd cousin who lives here that you never see.
I'm kind of curious about the other adventure, which I was just told about, the Fall of Blackbottom, because it's like, you're all in an
It
inn.
looks like a city.
This
Yeah.
city is now besieged, and you have to deal with it. And so you could also be from this city, and I think the whole adventure takes place in the city. And I'm like, oh, this could be fun. It might be
But I
very
just like
different.
the idea of sending the meat smoker that we made a hireling.
Yes.
Send
Send her
him
to
to the
hang out with
retirement
grandma.
home where your grandma lives to be like, I'm your grandchild's employee. Do you
Yep.
have any secret rare consumables for us on our travels?
That's funny.
Excellent.
And that is how the game works.
Mhm.
Yes.
You brought up what leveling up, Spencer, and we did play 5 or 6 sessions and still have not leveled up.
No.
Oh, we got half of a level.
Yeah, this is a
Yes.
slow
We only
game.
rested once. We only rested once.
There's
so-
a big reason for that. Fights take half a session. Basically,
Yeah.
fights take
Yeah.
half a session. If you're playing with like 4 or 5 people, they might take longer.
I think the ideal session for Draw Steel is you do a little bit of fiddly stuff, you have a fight, you go home. Those are the 3 phases of a Draw Steel session.
Yeah.
Fiddly bits, fight, go home.
Now, because of things like initiative, you don't have nearly as much of the issue of like, well, I'm going to do a thing and then I'm just going to wait for my turn, because you don't know when you don't have to wait for a full round to come and go before it's your turn, because to a degree you're more active, especially if someone has a tactician, or especially if you're a rogue and you're just like, I'm going now. There's less of that.
I would actually semi-disagree there. Because the fights are always changing, you cannot plan ahead at all, because your turn could be slotted into the tactician order at any point in time, which means you always have to be very focused on the fight, but you can't really plan ahead because the fight is so it changes so much, which in turn causes a lot of choice paralysis when it does come to your turn, because you couldn't do any of that pre-planning, which means that each person's turn does tend to take, I think, longer than in most other games that I'd compare it to. Like, I've been playing Pathfinder as a side game recently. My Pathfinder turn is easy. I know what I'm doing. So while I'm sitting here waiting through all the other people, what I'm doing hasn't changed. In Draw Steel, it absolutely changes. So every person's turn feels like it takes a while.
That's fair. I also think this is related to everyone has their own special spells list of spells.
Yeah.
Because there is no I just hit it thing. There's okay, I do this, which does this, which does this, which does this, which triggers this, and I get points for this.
Yeah, you like constantly have to pay attention because even well, I can't remember all the tacticians like
The
you get points when
elementalists
someone does
with
this.
damage types.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
specifically with
Typed and
the beast part,
untyped
it was like
damage.
if someone next to your companion gets hurt, you get points, or like the first time like your companion
What are the beast
hits,
points called?
Yeah. The game wants you to
Um,
pay attention during everyone's turn. I don't
me
think
double
that's a
check that
bad
for you.
thing, but again, it's a very specific playstyle. It wants you to approach this with a specific mindset, and part of that mindset that it isn't clear about, I would say, compared to like the part about combat, is it wants you to be zoned in every time, every turn,
Yeah,
every
you're-
individual's turn. Enemies as well, because enemies can really change the battlefield on a single turn.
So Indigo, the beast heart gets ferocity, and when you use ferocity, your companion gets rampage.
You got 2 resources.
Awful. What do you mean you got 2 separate flavors of spell slots?
It's honestly not
It's
that
not bad.
hard because the rampage is just a number that ticks up.
Rampage isn't
Like, the more-
spent. It's yeah.
No, it's not spent. It's just once he
Okay.
hits a certain level, he has to like hit someone on his turn, and he gets like damage reduction.
Your pet's actually a barbarian in disguise.
Basically, and then ferocity is like that's the thing you have to keep track of.
Okay.
Is a thing.
It is very
I-
complicated. Though.
Yeah.
Do not know where on the list we are at anymore.
Somewhere in
Uh,
combat,
somewhere in combat.
and character creation at the same time.
Combat creation.
Boss fights. I think boss fights are the last part of combat to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
we
we kinda
talked
talked
about
about minions.
classes. There's somehow even more of them than you would ever imagine.
Yeah, I think we
Right.
talked about all of character
We-
creation.
Yeah, I think.
We haven't talked about classes, but like I talked about my class specifically, but there are
hmm,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
There's a lot.
6, 7, 8, 9 wizards.
Nine
Nine
different types of
wizards.
wizards. Yes,
Yes. There's 9 classes.
each of which have at
they
least
all
3
have-
specializations.
Yeah, there's like 12 classes. But all
Plus,
to be
there's the
fair,
summoner and
all-
beast heart extras.
all play very differently than each
Mhm.
other. Like the Earth Wizard, they did a good job, plays different from a Fire Wizard. But it means that there's just so many classes. And not a floating disc to be seen.
we talked about like the ancestries and like all the ancestries are cool. I think the one thing that sort of like my little pet peeve is they have all these like cool different names for the languages,
Oh,
but then you don't know the language. Like, what is this? Oh, this is the dwarf language, but it's not called like anything close to dwarvish.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, this is the language of gnolls and the underground people. It's like, what?
It was
Like, how
a-
was anyone
It's
supposed to
someone
know
who's-
this?
There's a
without
table,
the history class.
yeah.
It's someone
Um,
who's really excited to make their own world, and they want to make it realistic, where the language isn't always just immediately done off of the people who made it, but at the same time, that more higher level of realism makes it way harder to reference in the middle of the game.
Yes.
It wants you to dive
It's
full in and
But it's
memorize
also-
and be
it's kitchen
enmeshed
sink
in the
fantasy, but
lore.
not.
But it
It's
doesn't
also
matter.
real life languages are named after the people who made them for the most part, right?
Well,
Like it's
yeah.
English, there's French, there's German.
But those are all. I mean, English is a silly example. But it's a complicated example, not silly. But there's also exonyms for all the not exonyms, but like there's words for these languages. They don't
Yeah.
call Chinese
Yeah.
in China. Like
I
that's
think
not
they
what it's
call
called.
German Deutsch.
Yeah, but like
German.
there are. Can we just say it all in Harkin or whatever the human word is?
Yeah,
Speaking of
human-
which-
human.
My favorite part of the languages. Humans have their own language. In D&D, humans speak common. because there isn't a human-specific language. There's Elvish and Dwarvish and this and that and Gnomish, but in
Yeah.
most kitchen sink fantasy, humans don't get their own language. They do here. They get their own. No, you don't get to listen. You don't get to understand what I'm saying. I'm speaking human with the humans over here.
That's pretty nice.
Humans
think it's
not
nice.
common, human-ish, or whatever, not being the lingua franca, is a cool, fun, what-if, wacky, crazy world idea. But can we, as humans who play the game, I just want all of the names to have little bracketed parentheticals that give me
Yeah.
the single point of information
Yeah.
that tells
I don't
me
want to have to go to a table and figure out what.
Especially because in the
what
setting,
they're
it's implied in the setting that outside of a few big metropolises, most people still live amongst their own ancestries. For the like in general in this world, there's not a lot. There's not a lot of mixing
Mixing.
in terms of travel and culture and language at this
which
stage.
makes the heroes party that much weirder, but
Mhm.
it's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't even it doesn't touch on that subject. It's just like your heroes are together. Don't think about it. As the
Which
impression
again
I
is
get.
kind of why the game is not encouraging roleplay in that way. They are not saying, "Hey, look, you're in a town of humans who have never seen another ancestry before in their lives, and congratulations, a group of two devils and a poulder have just walked in."
Yeah,
Yeah.
you kind
No
of
one's going to bat an eyelid about that because the game doesn't care about roleplay.
you kind
The
of don't
game
feel
cares about
grounded in the world. Yeah, you don't. You feel like you're here to do stuff, but you're not.
Slay monsters.
You are a visitor to the world, is what you feel like, not a member of it. I guess that's the way to put it.
Yeah, I feel like that still hits the like Oblivion Skyrim-esque. sort of
Very
Yeah,
much
feel.
so.
It doesn't matter that there's no lizard people on this planet. You are a lizard person. It's in the multiverse. It's on the list. You picked it.
Yep.
Do you want to be a four-armed Goro kind of guy? Sure, they're not gonna bat an eye.
From a different time
Yep.
dimension.
The mother who is missing a daughter will still go up to you, second choice, but still,
Yeah.
and ask for help.
She's still a little racist.
What was that? They have to no. This is they have to show how evil. Remember, they
The
take
other
their
Yeah,
guys-
that's
second.
still how evil the other.
They show how evil the
Depending
four
on how
profit
things go,
adventurers are.
you can
Those are
fight those
adventurers.
guys.
We're
Yeah.
heroes.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Um, perfect. So, anyways, I think we're good with combat and character creation. There's other rules in the game. There's skill checks. There's skill challenges. Also,
We certainly needed those.
you did one of them,
Yeah.
and you actually succeeded 100%. So you
I think
did
our
really
other
well.
group did too, right? Because we also
Mixed.
did the ant.
Your other group did mixed,
Oh,
which
mixed.
is why the horrible ant monster. The other group, it was already underground and hiding when they
Yeah,
arrived.
I remember that now.
Mm,
But for you guys, it was fully visible and effectively surprised.
Another thing the other group did was the negotiation mechanic.
Right.
I like that. We didn't get to do that.
We
here,
didn't do
but-
that here, actually. We reviewed Red Markets a while back. It's not that dissimilar from Red Markets.
Mhm. I honestly think it's better.
I think it is better too. Red Markets is very insistent on flashbacks and like pre-prep things to the point where it was a lot. But I actually really like negotiation. In the two-shot I privately did, we also had our own negotiation that came up. The GM was doing it offhandedly, but it worked well.
Yeah. So I just for context for the other two, when you enter a negotiation, I think each character has like, or the person you're negotiating against has like a soft spot. Is it one or two?
They generally have two soft spots and maybe a hard spot, basically.
Okay. Yeah. So if you like hit on their soft spot, you get you could move the negotiation tracker closer to like where you want it, and if you mess up the roll, you move it down farther away from where you want it, basically.
Yeah, it's a track that goes up or
there's a
down.
clock.
It's a clock. The patience is the number of attempts you can make to sway them to your side. You
Oh, cool.
push it
Right.
up as high as you can.
Unlimited. A limiter
Yeah,
on it
limited.
is,
Yes.
is always good for these mechanics.
And then you push the clock as high as you can. If you narratively hit a soft spot, it buffs your next roll that involves it. If you hit a hard spot, it basically is a penalty no matter what the roll is. It's basically
I think
like
it's like an auto fail,
it's
right?
basically an auto fail. if you are like, yeah, this person is a charity worker, and they're like, but you can get so much money for yourself if you take advantage of these children and like steal from them, and yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's not going to work, no matter what.
I also like there's like
Yeah.
once you realize like, oh, we can't get this guy any further down toward our end.
You can end it
just
early.
you could just bail. You could be like, all right, this is
Yeah.
where we're gonna land.
It's too risky if we keep pushing them. We'll
It's
accept.
a very gamified conversation mechanic. I'd expect that's exactly what I'd expect for this game.
It was very gamified. I would say it was actually more. It was the big thing that was had fictional positioning with how the hard and soft spots work, compared to the rest of the game, because you really did want to care about and guess at and try to figure out, like, okay, what does this person care about? Can we try to talk about that? And there's this. It's gamifying the fiction, but it's sort of like game into fiction back into game, instead of just mechanics creating the fiction like the rest of the game.
Yeah.
It worked well.
The last thing I would say about character creation, it never came up, but you also got to pick, when you were creating a character, a career, which is essentially your backstory. As part of your career, you got an inciting incident. And I only looked at the Troubadour's inciting incidents, but of the 6 that were given there, they were all absolutely incredibly evocative. They were fascinating. And I saw absolutely no way to weave it into the story that we were really working with, because it's here's your adventure, go down that adventure, not go down your side personal adventure. But that being said, I loved that they gave me a reason. Why did I stop living my normal life and go into being an adventurer? It had a bunch of different character kinds of person that I could be if I picked each of these, and they were very well written of giving me these are interesting.
Yeah, no, they were. Mine was my undead wizard uncle vanished in a poof of magic or whatever, and I trying to figure out what happened to him.
Yeah.
My whole concept was Polder liked to pickle things. This is not in the lore. My uncle was a pickled wizard, and he taught me magic, kind of deal. Like
mine
there's
is-
like a disappearing wizard is like a wizard mentor is a great like reason for why the apprentice leave the tower, because the wizard vanished.
For mine, it was during a performance you watched in horror as the audience was suddenly overcome by a curse that caused them to disintegrate before your eyes.
Oh,
I'm like,
This is-
what? You aren't sure what happened, but seeking an answer sounds like a heroic thing to do. And I'm like, I'll say, like, that's interesting.
what a race of adventure! Like I want to know
But
who's melting people.
Yeah, mine's
But
just
one of the
sad.
other
Mine was-
options were, but one of the other options were like, you were famous and people really liked you, but then a hero walked into your play or whatever you were doing, and everyone liked the hero more. So you were like, this is garbage. I'm going to go be a hero and show them I can be more famous. And I'm like, those
Holier
are two
than
very
thou?
different reasons.
That's so
They're two
funny.
very different characters, and they're so flavorful.
So mine was Gladiator, and I think I got to choose like between like a couple different things, and the one I ended up on was, oh yeah, you're from an orphanage that supplied the gladiators for the gladiator pit, and you like escaped and vowed to never like let anyone like do that to people. It was like that. It's like, oh, I have the tragic backstory.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But you're also from hell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a gladiator
Unrelated.
pit in hell. That's why.
Unrelated. The hell is a tag that you just like
Yeah.
stamp on the end of that sentence because
Yep.
you're a devil.
Yeah,
If you're a Polder, it would be from Shadow World or whatever.
shadow hell instead of normal hell.
True. Yeah. Background is obviously as a GM not something I engage with too much, and I was using a pre-made when I played the other game. I don't think the pre-mades use backgrounds inherently. I think
They do.
They do.
roll it in, but they don't tell you about them. Is what the way I'd put
Because
it.
you get like a special ability because of your background, I think.
Yeah.
You do. They just don't go and yell it like, "Hey, here's everything about your background." They say, "Here's the name of it, and here's special ability with the other abilities," and that's it. But
The other
they
part
seem
of
good
background
enough. The only thing I was gonna say was background seem good enough that, like, from how you're all talking about it, that even if you don't play Draw Steel, read the backgrounds.
Yeah, the backgrounds are pretty good.
Like, take them into your other games.
the other thing that we didn't touch on because we didn't use it in the games, I think, is complications. Another part of character creation. You pick one, it gives you a benefit, and it gives you a drawback. It was a bit much because honestly, in our first game, it's like there's so much to learn. So I was not even at the time when I was creating my own character. It's like I think I've got this game. That was one step too far for me,
Yeah.
but it does look like a cool list.
There are 100 complications in possible population to choose from, and they are all optional. Backgrounds you have to choose, and it's built in and expected that you will choose one of them. Complications are entirely optional with a good upside and a downside. And they vary from betrothed to anti-hero to voice in your head to wrathful spirit to infernal
Dragon
contract.
Dreams.
There's two entries 46 and 47. 46 is called Infernal Contract. Episode 47 is called Infernal Contract, but like bad. Those are the names of them.
The but like bad one is you get a lot of good benefits.
Yeah.
Yes. So there's some like
There's
very
like
interesting things here.
There's a lot of like narrative meat to dig into is really what this is. And I feel like we're all chomping at the bit to get into some of that like narrative bits, like some of the narrative parts. But the game doesn't. It gives you fishing. It gives you talk to grandma. It gives you sharpen your magic sword that you don't have. As the downtime actions to explore. When you're not exploring, you're killing monsters. As you see this beautiful tableau of a world around you.
I think the game really, as much as it would be extra work as a GM for obvious reasons, I think this is a game that would really shine from running it like a custom campaign, not using a pre-made adventure to a degree. I think maybe everyone's second game of Draw Steel will probably be way better than their first because you learn like what the game is focused on. Like you can set your expectations, and I think this is one of those things with it. Like I think that the tutorial adventure is very good as a tutorial. But I then want to be like, okay, yeah, let's explore complications, let's explore backstories, let's like focus in on the characters, and I think the mechanics can work outside of fights when you do that. But the adventure doesn't have any space for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, do a custom. Maybe this other Fall of Black Bottom adventure or other fan-made ones that are not official could work. I don't know anything about them. But I'm still very much eyeing this game for my own, like, prepared homemade adventure for the future.
I might just buy it to read it. I'm so curious what the adventure to kill the sun is.
It's on. I think it's like a day left on BackerKit. Hold on.
Yeah, I looked it up. I'm highly considering I don't even know if I'd ever play it. Just backing it just to read the adventure of Sun Murder. I might buy it. I'll probably end up buying it later. But like, it's such an intriguing concept. Like the people that write these clearly know how to write a story. Like this isn't, but like the game doesn't really let you explore the story. But like, I am interested in some of their story stuff.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot to be said that like, I don't think this adventure is bad, and even though it's adapted, it's still like, I'm imagining how they've gotten really better as adventure writers in the past 10 years since the first iteration of this adventure we played was made. Oh, wait, there's full-on sci-fi? I mean, I know it's called Crack the Sun, but I scrolled down to a part with spaceships.
There's spaceships! And in the next slide, you're an elf fighting a forest monster. Like, it's very confusing.
Yeah. I'm not...
So, were there any other rules you wanted to look at?
What? We're not just going to talk about the hype for... Yeah. Okay. Titles. Fishing. Okay. I thought we talked about fishing.
Other rules.
Boss
Skills,
fights. You're right.
Who needs them?
Boss fights. Boss fights were...
Okay.
You did...
Yes.
You did...
One.
The bandit was supposed to be a boss fight.
It was
Oh,
not a
yeah.
boss.
It
We
was
No.
not.
trounced her. We absolutely trounced her. The fish were a
Easiest-
bigger problem.
Yes.
No, I was a little harder.
She was harder than the fish, but that's because Jordan was taking most of the damage from her.
Yeah, but I had a better time with her than the fish.
That said, also, this is just one of the things with balance. The game, I think, was written for 4 to 5 players, and we did 3, and there's text for how to reduce it to 3, but it's not always even. Either way, boss fights. The bug boss fight was the real boss fight of the game,
Yeah.
and also I think the
That game was
hobgoblin
wild.
sorcerer in like this at the end of the second session. You guys were limping your way to
Oh,
the
yeah.
last goblin fight, and then, but that wasn't a solo boss fight. We had one solo boss fight.
Yeah, the solo one's really hard.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, this guy has special action upon special action, and it's like, cool.
Takes 2 turns.
They have as many actions as your entire group does by themselves, between special actions, multiple per turn, malice comes into play here. Yeah.
I'm just gonna say I'm glad we did that right after we rested. Because if we were like halfway through a day and we went, oh, let's go investigate this thing, and then had to fight the ant guy, I think there would be 1 or 2 deaths.
Yup.
I think someone ended the fight at like minus 2 points above death. I think something like that, like -7 or something.
I don't remember.
It was.
I don't think
bad.
I finished almost any fight either 2 points above my HP or negative. Like, it was always very low.
But I think boss fights, to me, from my perspective, they felt like the epitome of what Draw Steel is about, even more so than any other fight. It felt like, to me, they felt awesome, but also awesome because they were so challenging.
Yeah, I almost feel like if we were just like the game says, you hunt like you fight monsters, right?
Mhm.
It almost if you made it more like a Witcher type of game where you're like tracking monsters
Or like a Monster
and then
Hunter.
you go, yeah, like a Monster Hunter, and you're going to fight monsters. Like I feel like that'd be so cool.
No, we don't explore.
No, I know, but I'm saying if you
Right,
did,
just clarify. There's no exploration specifically.
It's fine.
it's fine.
Traps is something we encountered once. That was weird. That was actually one of the difficult parts. That was in the first session, I think. Beginning
Which
of
is
the second.
think so.
very,
Oh,
which is very
yeah.
weird considering we don't dungeon crawl.
We don't dungeon crawl, but
Yeah.
here's a dungeon and here's a trap. And in the rules of the book, I had to really bend over backwards for this, but basically, in the rules of the book, the better you do on your rolls to deal with the trap, the less damage you take from it. This is me simplifying, but basically,
The saving throw they didn't edit out of the adventure.
yeah, there isn't, in the mechanics, even doing smart ideas and stuff isn't meant to just fully bypass the trap. It just reduces the damage it deals, and I kind
Yeah.
of bent that forward in your favor because it did. Again, this is one of the most extreme moments of mechanical ludonarrative dissonance.
Ooh. Breaking out those $5 college words.
That's my listening to video game critiques too much words.
Yeah, it's
No, I do the same thing. It's fine.
especially like the way that trap worked. Like I feel like if you put a trap in a game, right, like especially like a role play game like this, you
Mhm.
should have a way to disarm it without taking damage.
Yeah,
Like,
but
that's the whole reason it's there. But
It felt like the combat. Here's an enemy, kill the enemy. Here's a trap, take the damage. It didn't feel
Yeah.
like find a way around it.
yeah,
it didn't feel like be smart. It felt like hit brain against floor until break. You know?
Yeah.
yeah. And that
Combat-
part I say you could change without too much trouble because the game doesn't care about traps, and this one
Not
might
at
have
all.
just been a holdover from the previous iteration.
Using combat, you wrote down using combat abilities outside of combat, heavily disincentivized.
Yeah,
There's
so
a
you can do, like, once
completely
per rest.
arbitrary. Yeah, it's not once per rest. I looked into it. It's once per rest.
Adventure.
Is it once per adventure? I thought either way.
I thought it was
The
rest.
only ones that are limited are the ones that require you to spend points. The ones that are signature abilities or otherwise don't require you to spend your hero points are... Oh, there's also hero points! I forgot!
You can't call them hero
I
points.
forgot about
There's
hero points.
another
What do
resource!
you mean you can't call? What do you mean hero points? That's the group resource.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one.
They should just call that like cohesion.
Yeah, call it affinity. Just, yeah.
There's so many points,
So many different resources.
so many
Uh,
resources.
Either way,
TLDR for hero
spend your resource, spend your heroic resource. If when out of combat, once per every so often, rest or session, probably not session, but rest or adventure, you can use each resource spending ability once out of combat for like a fictional thing. It's like, okay, it's sort of like, it's not a band-aid, but it's like okay, if you really want to like have some kind of connector between out of combat and in combat, here's your one thing.
Mhm.
And that's very much a cinematic story style approach. That is, I know we're heroes, but that is the fire mage raising the oncoming army with a wave of fire. That is the earth mage, like, summoning a giant wall or whatever in the middle of the woods to keep the, like, evil locust swarm from approaching the town. Like, that is, like, one giant cinematic moment. That is, like, the tactician, like, raising the banner up high and the whole army goes first.
Yeah.
I was about to say that ability using out of combat, it does feel like a band-aid because all my like abilities that use points are we all move first or we all go first.
Yeah.
Because I had the move one too. It's like, oh, we all get to move. You know?
Yeah, it's weird. Ultimately, I think one of the core challenges that is inherent to this game, not actually our expectations, is that tactics asks you to solve problems, but heroism asks you to do awesome things. Those are two different mindsets that it kind of wants you to have both of. It doesn't want you to approach out of combat things at all from trying to solve problems. And it doesn't mind if you do awesome things in combat, but it's so challenging that you might just die if you don't approach it from the perspective of problem solving.
Yeah, because the optimal best choice is summon Firestorm, hide under bucket.
Yeah.
Remote power Firestorm. I survived, enemies are gone, I'm a hero.
Yeah. This might be made easier if the challenge is reduced by 10% or something. Like, not by a lot, but just by a little. This might also be affected by the fact that we only played with 3 players. And again, the adventure says what to do to adjust an encounter for 3 players, but it was originally written in Balance in Mind with, I think, 5. It was its default. It has stuff for upping it to 6, lowering it to 4, and lowering it to 3. But 5 is the default for, I think, Draw Steel in general. 5 player characters, not including the GM. And
6 people schedules?
I
My god.
at least for this adventure, that's what it was. And so I also very strongly suspect that affected the challenge. That's why parts of the game might have felt super hard, and also parts of the game, like the bandit chief boss fight, felt like it wasn't even a boss fight.
I'm a little bit, or we might be a little bit perspective shifted because of the downgraded, like the gear shift down in power scaling left some weird holes in the whole thing. Because there's only, because like the going down to 4 is less minions, but the going down to 3 is no minions, and less to none is a massive jump.
It is.
So like things like that.
Let me bring up some examples, actually, because they're very particular. It's not always go down. Sometimes it's remove this minion group, and other times it's remove a different minion group. That's
an adventure. That's an adventure like thing, which we're not specifically like going over.
It's the lens for our system, but we want to focus on the system. You're right.
Yeah.
I think I'm running out of stuff other than game mastering, which I'm curious about.
I was gonna bring up. We didn't talk about titles.
We didn't talk about
Wait, what
titles,
are
and I'll
those?
talk about GMs. When you accomplish specific things in the game, you get titles. You've gotten one, I think maybe 2 actually.
Because when you kill the
Achievements.
bug, whoever kills
They're
the
basically
bug
achievements.
gets, like, a bug title. Yeah.
Yep. So, if you save the girl at the end of the first dungeon thing, you get Violet's Savior. One person. the person who actually like freed her,
Dealt
gets
the killing blow.
that's
Or
the
no,
other one.
whoever saved
Dealt the
Violet.
killing blow to the
One
to the-
person or one bear.
or one
I
bear
don't
in our other
think
in our
you
other
should
group. It was the
murder.
bear that freed her, and so the bear became the hero of Broadhurst.
So stupid.
I'll admit, while titles is a neat idea, it was kind of frustrating that they weren't shared titles. It made narrative sense, but at the same time, I had a hidden completion feature to get an achievement, and I didn't know I was competing with my group members to get that. So it was kind of frustrating saying, "Oh, you just got a title." I mean, I guess that's good for the group, but I would have liked to have known that was on the table
Titles
and
are
what I needed to do
individual,
to get it
and I
myself.
don't think I would keep titles individual. I think they're
Yes,
really
please no.
strong if they're not individual, but I would just have them rarer and not be individual because
Yeah.
the group acts as a group in every other instance.
I pulled up the titles, and I just need to talk about some of these. Doomed as a title.
Oh.
Prerequisites: you aren't magic race, but have witnessed one of them die. You are not destined for a meaningful death. That's what the title does. It takes meaning away from your death. When you
You
reduce
saw
to
a
0
vision
hit points
of your own
yeah.
death when you saw this person die. Amazing.
and it was boring. So you get a weird death power. It's some of them pretty cool. Dwarven Legionnaire, you fought
like the
like in a
prerequisite.
dwarven line of shields.
No, it says specifically you fight alongside 3 or more dwarves. So
Oh,
if
so
you get in a
two's
bar
not
fight
enough.
with 3 dwarf friends, you get this.
Those dwarves that you were negotiating with in our other game, Jordan, you could have totally, if you did really badly with them, they would have started fighting you.
Oh. And then we would have got the dwarven.
And then you
Legion.
would have gotten the Dwarven Legionnaire title, apparently.
Oh,
You can get
man.
presumed dead as a title. That's a great one. I love being presumed dead.
Yep. Although the director gives out titles, if you want to earn a specific one, let them know. Okay, so I did not actually know that there were so many pre-done... I said I read this front to back. I think I stopped. That's what it was. I did not read this front to back. Let me
You have to
recontextualize.
achievement hunt
I
them.
read it through classes because I was looking for class design inspiration, so I stopped at complications.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ship captain, as soon as you buy a boat,
Wait,
as soon as
really?
you acquire a ship,
acquire a ship,
airship, or
airship.
similar vessel, as soon as the ink dries on your boat mortgage, you are a ship captain and you get a magic power.
Master Librarian. Prerequisite. You already have the Ancient Lore Master title, so this is a title that requires a separate title, and you've completed a Discover Lore project to learn lost or forbidden knowledge.
I think you might be in the tier 2 ones because
Are there
they have different
tiers?
tiers.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
are tiered titles. There's
two
second
echelon titles.
echelon titles, not
Oh.
tiers. Get it down.
That's not in the...
But,
oh,
it's
yeah.
echelons of play.
Yeah.
So as
Okay.
you have to be level 5, I think, to get a second echelon
I thought-
title.
Yeah. Because you have Corsair, you need the ship captain title, and you sink or capture a ship of equal or greater size to your own. So you just get like a pirate
That's
title.
amazing.
I actually really like titles.
Yeah, the titles are on
Titles
one
are
hand
great.
cool, but they're very much a they're an achievement hunting kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
you have to be
Mhm.
purposefully gunning for them.
Yeah.
The same with your personal backstories. I think titles reinforce your point about how this game would do really well with like a super dedicated game master doing like a really in-depth comb game.
Yep.
yeah.
That's what titles also feel like, because there's a more opportunity for me, like, for Marissa to approach me and be like, I want to earn a title. And I'd be like, great. Here's a list of 100 of them. Any that you feel would fit, and I can try to work that in as an opportunity.
Yeah. You have to have 3 ships and sink someone else to be a fleet admiral, but it can be accomplished.
Ooh, there's a
Once again,
demigod.
this fishing, we will bully this game into a fishing game, kicking and screaming. We're gonna buy a boat. We're all gonna be ship captain. We're all gonna go fight
Are we
on the
gonna
high
make a
seas.
tactical fishing minigame?
Tactical fishing.
Not mini.
Not mini. Sorry,
Full-on
tactical
tactical
fishing,
fishing.
campaign length, 2 years or more role
Yeah,
playing
2
game.
years of fishing. 2
I'm just
years on the high seas. We're hunting. What's the way? Are there whales? What is
We're hunting Moby Dick. Whales
Is
with
there-
legs. That's what we're hunting.
The word
No,
whale.
whales.
Oh, there are sky whales. I control F whale.
Sky whales on my airship.
Play-
We will be.
Planar Voyager is a title that has a quote about seeing sky whales.
Cool.
That's the
And
only
if I-
time
Is
the word whale
GMing
appears
the
in the
game
document.
like?
So,
Oh my god.
as we stop, as you can tell, this is a very good game to read.
Yeah.
This game is probably at its best when read. That's not to say the rest of it is bad, but this is a game that is very exciting to read. GMing the game, so like I said, I don't know what preparation is like in a typical like home game sense. I only ever have run specifically Delian Tomb twice. Not the whole thing through twice, but I've prepped it in terms of like setting up for virtual tabletop stuff for it. I have read through it with that in mind. Mid-session GMing is the only part of it I can really comment on. Not typical prep. I think I would call it middle of the road when it comes to mental load. I felt like I did not have a small amount of mental load, but I felt like you had more of one. Because most of the time, minions were easy to manage. Minions were like, they all, even though there's 20 of them, I'm like, it's usually a group of 8. Let's say a group of 8 of minions act at once. They take a single shared action of they shoot you. Maybe they shoot all 3 of you at once, but they still functionally just shoot you. I make one roll that applies to the 3 of you. Done. Effectively, it's kind of like AoE. That's the most complex they get, is multi-target attacks. Boss fights are probably the most complicated to figure out how they work, but once I learned and had to look up because I couldn't find a good explanation, I might have missed it, of how villain actions work for that solo boss fight, then it worked well. The way that the adventure did not feel like it ran itself for me, but it very much felt like it greased the wheels. It made it easier to run. The bosses were almost telling you what to do because solo boss and villain actions, they're ordered 1, 2, 3. They don't have to be done in that order, but it's recommended that you do. So you can sort of be like, okay, here is how I make this boss. Here's how they'll act in the first round. Here's how they'll act in the second round. Here's how they'll act in the third round. And by that point, the fight's probably done. Which I think most fights were.
Yeah.
In combat, I felt there were things I missed. How leaders of minion squads worked, for example, and I don't love the layout of the game, but even though it's exciting to read, it's not easy to reference.
But reference books aren't exciting to read, so
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I found this is the easiest game of this complexity that I have run. I have enjoyed running Lancer. I've enjoyed running Beacon. This game felt kind of similar, but with less work. Malice was fun to use. Some GMs can forget about Malice. I never really did, but that's because I kept it visible to everyone. And made it like just end of each round gain Malice, and then usually that makes it easy to actively look at how to spend it. But Malice was my only resource that I had to worry about. So that was a lot easier for me. Enemies had fewer abilities than you. Maybe even combined an entire fight, they had fewer abilities than you. If I combined every enemy within a fight. The only thing I would say was more challenging would be the strictness we've talked about of it's like sometimes I would want to make a ruling about this game that I didn't quite feel it allowed me to, or that I felt would break or unravel a part of the game. But that is partly adventure. But I liked GMing this. and would happily continue to. And like I said, I am in the process of creating a. I have had an adventure in mind for years that I've been wanting to put together and run, but I've been kind of like searching for the right rule set. Drawsteel might be it for this adventure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really running out of words about
I think we've said everything we
things.
can think
Well,
of.
we're really hitting
Yeah.
to our last 3 questions, so there we go.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
does the game set out to do? This is just a reiteration of our first thing.
Kill monsters.
Fight monsters, it said.
Fight.
Fight monsters.
Fight. Yes.
Yeah, non-lethal damage is basically whatever you want to. If you want it to be lethal, it's lethal. If you don't want it to be lethal, it's not lethal. That's
The
how
game
it
doesn't
goes.
care you defeated them.
Yes.
Tactics metagame. It does not care that it's an RPG. It could do just as well with a video game with friends. Tactics metagame is what it wants.
That's what it sets out. Fight. How does it achieve that? By name, only giving you rules for fighting and making fun of you if you do anything else.
That's not what it does quite, but close.
No, it doesn't.
Not
I'm
allowing you to-
exaggerating.
But it is by only giving you fight moves and not allowing you to think out of creative solutions to avoid fights.
Yes. It's like
Which
if there was a
is
fight.
very beer. It's very much like, oh, we're fighting now.
Yeah, it's. We're not at who should play this game yet. Okay, good. Yes. Anything else before we move on to how does it achieve that? Or are we at that now already?
That was how does we achieve
Okay,
that.
perfect. Who should play this
Yeah, I don't
game?
know how do we achieve that? People that want to fight.
People.
Yeah, this is definitely like the murder hobo game.
This is beer and pretzels in a weird way. This is like, yeah, I don't mind that the GM is guiding me along this thing. The GM is saying, okay, if the GM puts an obstacle in front of me, I will charge straight at it. Not that you don't care, but that it is. I'm more saying who it's not for, but it is for someone who won't push the bounds of what they can do.
It's for someone who wants to fight and who like that is their goal. That's it.
But like, that's
And-
their story goal. Like they want to be.
Yeah.
They don't want to have to put a lot of it. Less story focused in a weird way for how many things are around it. It's very much the gamified. We solve this solution by overcoming the obstacle. We don't solve this solution by redoing the narrative or changing the fictional positioning or changing the framework. We solve this problem by overcoming the obstacle, guys. We overcome the obstacle how? By fighting. Like,
Yeah,
it's not. It's just what it is.
This is D&D
Yeah,
You're
meets
not here for
XCOM,
role
is what
play.
I would call it.
Yeah, this is like a tactical Skyrim, you know, where like if you want to have a story, you are like guided through the story. You know, you have to kill Parthenax no matter how bad you don't want
Using
to.
the adventure, I would run that very differently in a home game. But yeah.
The other thing that I would say is it's for those who really like challenge, because at least we've discussed how it may have been different with more players and how that changes. But I'd fight back against that beer and pretzels thing, because if you are not paying attention, you can TPK yourself like that, and it's not just you who's dead. No, it's your entire party.
That's fair.
Oh, that's fair.
There is a higher level of challenge in this game than any game I have run up against.
Yeah, it's like this
Not
weird
so-
disconnected investment.
it's
You want to
not
be
your
really
first.
invested in fighting well, but you don't want to be really
Yeah.
invested in like the story, which is
Yeah.
weird to say.
Mm-hmm. But also, it cuts out the min-max, because everyone is pre-min-maxed by the nature of the classes being very, like, railroaded when you make your first couple initial decisions about your class to figure out what kind of character
Yeah.
you are, and you, on a very linear trajectory, just get more powerful from there.
For the most part, yeah.
Um,
There's not really a build system.
Which, yeah, there's not really like a build system, which is fine because you're supposed to be good at fighting and achieving the narrative of conceit of the game of being a hero who fights the bad monsters. But everyone is automatically munchkined to the max to be the most effective version. Like, there's a couple decisions you make at the start, and you linearly advance from there, and then you just keep getting stronger. There's no, like, at level 4, there's no suboptimal choice to make. There is just the advancement. So it's not for people that want to, like, build a weird custom character, which is me. I want to sit here and build the least effective yet silliest mechanical character.
Yeah, which is why we love Burning Wheel.
Which is at one point I designed a Pathfinder ninja wizard whose whole thing was he was a butler who summoned plates of food that he then threw and exploded. As like that was the main combat conceit, and I spent all of my time figuring out how to make this possible. How many levels in Wizard do I need to summon a sufficient, like, because it was by weight for how much you could summon. So how much did this plate of pancakes weigh? And what level wizard do I have to be to summon the pancake weight? And then what level ninja do I have to be to throw it and make it blow up? Like, you don't do that in this game. There is which is fine, because that's insane. This is not normal people behavior to build the plate-throwing ninja wizard. But you can't do it if you wanted to here.
Okay. I think that's...
I really did that.
I believe you.
It wasn't the good character.
Yeah, I think...
But it's just not a thing you're looking for in this game. You're looking for, like, you grab a character out of the bin, you do a fight, and then 20 sessions later you blow up the sun.
Yeah. 20 sessions is...
with level progression,
60.
it's going to be around 100 or so.
Yeah. But yeah, this is for people who...
In real time.
This is for people who are unsatisfied with D&D in a very specific way, which is they want to keep playing D&D, but do have different fights, different types of fighting, more like have fights feel dangerous, but have things they can do in response to that danger.
This game knows its audience, which is great. Yeah. There's so many games that we play that, like, half the thing is like, well, this was for a different thing. They just stuck that in there. But, like, no, this one knows who it's for. Yes. It knows who wants to play it. Even if we're having a hard time elucidating that point, this game does know it. It's not a secret.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think if we jump right from that into rating, my rating... I've never been good at doing something creative, so I'll start mine straight up here. I rate this a 9 out of 10. I don't want to play it again, but it knew what it was aiming at, and it really created itself to hit that target very, very well. I think they did a great job of that. It just taught me that I wasn't the target.
What would you rate it, I'm curious, from a completely subjective, personal, like, played again level of viewpoint, not from how good of a game is it viewpoint?
7 out of 10, because I still do want to like tactics like this.
Okay.
I have my silly rating.
I would probably... Okay, go ahead first.
2 out of 3 Devil Party members.
That's fair.
Yeah, I don't know. This game doesn't... I agree that it very much sets out goals and achieves its goal, and in that sense, as far as like achieving what it sets out to do, this game feels like a 4 or 5 out of 5, kind of 5 broadswords out of 5 broadswords. Like, we did the thing, yo. We made a 5e where you fight more, think less. But tactics more. Like, it's... Yeah. Very, like, you play Skyrim a whole bunch between your D&D sessions. Now don't stop. Keep playing Skyrim. Like, it very much achieves that. It very much achieves the, like, pseudo beer and pretzels environment with still having the tactical, like, decision-making of you gotta actually pay attention, and you're kind of penalized if you're not paying attention because you don't get your bonus surge point because you weren't, like, watching for the trigger kind of deal. Yeah. It rewards you for being engaged in a way that, like, silly just for fun games don't, but still has that kind of mindlessness of the silly just for fun games of like it does walk you through it, but you do have to be engaged the whole time. It achieves that.
Engaged with. Sorry, you cut out for me. So
Oh, you're good. Yeah, you're engaged the whole time, or you get penalized. You're engaged, which is great because a lot of the it's good. It takes a lot of mental power. I'm less interested in playing it again and more interested in knowing how to kill the sun, which does speak to how good of writers that the creators are. Like, I'm intrigued by their writing. My biggest and chief complaint is one they simply don't care that I have, which is I want to be able to explore this world more and have it make more sense to me. But they clearly have no interest in achieving that goal for me. The fishing was just dangled out there in front of me.
Yeah, I think
You were the fish the whole time.
when it comes to this game, I would say like cultivating excitement is one specific part of RPG writing, because you could write good rules, but if no one gets excited, they won't play them. And they're very good at that with this entire game.
Yeah.
I would rate this probably 8 malice out of 10. As the GM, I feel obligated to use that as my rating system. But I'd say it's 8 out of 10 for me. There are things I want to tweak with it that I'll probably do in that home campaign and see how it works. Things like titles and complications and fighting and all sorts of things, I'm like, this can really work, but if I do this and this and this will... I feel like it's close to a kind of perfect game for me. Lancer had... I like mechs. I'm not...
Who doesn't like a
By
And that matters a lot.
It actually does, because it fits with the system. Like, in Lancer, you can build your mech in the game rules, and you can build your mech. Like, that's a big part of mechs, is building and tweaking and refining. And so there's a lot of, like, harmony between the narrative. The excitement leads right into the mechanics. I don't like D&D combat, but I think I will like GMing this game in a way that my players will be excited for. There was a hilarious moment just over a week ago where I ran they're 2 sessions in. I'm running Draw Steel for my other group with Jordan in it. We are doing it every so often when someone can't make it, so this is our sort of backup campaign. One player complained and wasn't sure about the fact that you technically never fully miss in Draw Steel. And he's like, I'm not sure how I feel about that. The very next session of Pathfinder 2nd Edition, he missed every attack.
Everything.
Everything missed. And he was like, why was I complaining about this? This is awful.
Yeah, if you want to cultivate fun, don't miss.
Yeah.
No, things don't miss. What do you mean? No, it's great. I forgot we didn't talk about that the whole time. Not missing is so good for this game. This game would be so much lamer if you missed your push button attack.
Yeah.
If your push button for Firestorm didn't summon a Firestorm down upon your enemies, it would be lame. Why would you spend the points on it?
I kind of want
I
to
will
try and
say
merge
also-
Lancer and Draw Steel for that reason, because I think the D20 miss thing is a problem with is like my thing I like the least about Lancer, even though I know it's balanced for it. It's also very swingy. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. I will say also, as someone in that Friday group that also like critically missed. Oh no, I was fighting
You
a
critically
ghost.
hit and then failed your concealment
critically
cheat
hit
to see if
twice,
that hit
but
was
I
real.
failed to hit it.
It wasn't. It was
so bad.
Pathfinder's the most punishing about this, specifically that this game is making an intentional move to never be. They know what they
especially
hate.
as a gunslinger in Pathfinder, where my whole turn is shoot, reload, sometimes shoot again, most of the time shoot again.
But yeah, the never missing was nice. It was kind of the first class I played, as we jumped back, didn't have any really damage moves. So it was congratulations, you can do the basic free strike or you can push someone. And because I didn't know, yes, moving people around the board is great tactically, I'm like, yeah, forget this. I'm making my own character that can do something more useful. But no, enemy placement does matter a lot. Where was I going with this? So the numbers kind of felt small in some times when it's like, yes, I do damage. Oh, I do that much damage. But it was nice to know that, yeah, it always hits, which is one of the reasons why it felt so scary, because the enemies always hit too.
Well,
Problem when you're
that's
running
true in
around
D&D
punching
as
everyone
well.
on the
The
back.
enemy does kind of always hit. I just assume I'm gonna get whacked.
Well, as you get up there in levels, it definitely does. I was checking to see.
Pathfinder's the worst about it. I don't think I've ever not been damaged in Pathfinder. I don't think my AC has really ever come up. They rolled a 45.
Yeah. Pathfinder's odd with its numbers. But then
They're
there's
so big.
second edition. We're talking about a different game, which we've already reviewed. But the thing with AC and like what you're doing is downgrading a crit to a hit because it's no longer plus 10. It's weird. It works, but it doesn't feel good. And this game does feel a lot better. There we go.
Cool.
Better than Pathfinder second
Anyway,
edition to us. That's our review.
This game is shockingly good for being a what I at least assume would be a 5e clone. Pleasantly surprised. Not ideal for me personally, but like really well executed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's our review. Next week,
Yep.
assuming everyone's available, we will be back for what might be our last session of Dungeon World 2 for the time being. We are eyeing Daggerheart because, of course, we can't get away from the D&D clones. But it'll actually be really interesting to compare we can't really we can compare it to Dungeon World 2, but not review-wise. Either way, it'll be good to compare it to Draw Steel. They'll be very different, I expect. But I haven't even opened the book. Thank you for watching. There's